other training?
Yeah, investments advisory. Yeah, that's the new one that's coming on board. We've already started with the Pershing. So you have that. You have the private banking side, then you have the side that I'm from is international corporate banking. So then you have these three departments working with private wealth. Wouldn't be mine if you had appropriate structures.
I got you.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hey. Good.
Yes. Yeah. So, I am good.
We have one person online tonight.
One person online. What she said? All is well? I am good. 6 of 8, you ordered the brunch already.
Alright.
Alright, good. Good day, everybody. My name is Dino Cartwright. I'll be your facilitator for the next 3 classes. As you know, we have class today, next Thursday. We skip the following Thursday, and then we come on the last Thursday in July. Alright, so I don't know how this is going to work out because we have one person online, but we'll figure out how to give her an assessment. But how it works is at the end of this class, on the last Thursday, there's a video, there's a recorded session. So you and the partner would go through an interview, which you would have kind of gathered with the interview skills and kind of see how much you gathered. Because there isn't a test per se for this class except your final online. And so kind of a way that we assess the class and ensure that everybody kind of is grasping as you go along that kind of interim testing that happens for the course. All right, so everybody will have their book before today, right? So that means everybody would have read before today, right? That means we could have a test today, right? All right, my name is Dino Cartwright. I am currently employed in the compliance section of Scotiabank, Bahamas. I've been there for about 1.5 years. Prior to that, I was employed at the central bank as an examiner in the bank supervision department. Prior to that, I was at Fidelity Bank for 5 years. So all of that, have a chartered banker in banking and finance, chartered banker MBA in banking and finance, and my undergrad is at COB in finance. And so we'll have a good class. We can feel free to stop at any time during the class, ask any questions, and then we will ensure that everybody kind of is up to speed at the end of today. Good day, how you doing? So what we're going to do is discuss today in the class client relationship skills, the communication process and all of that, and then next week what we'll cover are the personality types and their impact on communication behavior, cultural issues in communication, and building trust and business ethics. So today, we're really going to be touching on what's in your module. Next week, we'll have some information that's not in your module. And then the final class, which is on the 27th, will be where you have your one-on-one with your partner. And you will conduct interviews.
What is that?
Oh, yeah.
25th.
Right, so we'll give you the 25th, sorry. So what we'll do is we'll give you an interview. We'll give you different scenarios, sorry, and then you will act out the scenario based on what it is you're doing in that scene. So perchance you may be someone who's applying for a loan. Perchance you may be someone who's trying to open a new business. Perchance you'll be someone who may be looking to I suppose, be hired. Whatever the scenario is, you and the person who's in your partnership will have that kind of dialogue. I'm not sure how many persons are in the class. Just how many persons were in the
10.
So that's 10.
The first class we had a full class, but we had alternate.
But they kind of, I guess after they figure that, after they realize you don't really have to do a class because you really don't have a test, they figure they'll just read and then. So we'll see how good they are.
I appreciate it.
But I guess the rain held everybody. So that's how it is. All right. So Lauren, were you in the first class too? Or is this you've had all your classes?
It's the first one I was able to attend, you know.
I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. So let's kind of get some names, where you're from, what you do, what you plan to do with this CFP, that kind of stuff. So we'll start right here.
Felicity Knowles, I'm with the CIFP Group. I've worked in international offshore banking for about 20 years. So my focus now is more on the wealth management, new business planning aspect of it. And I just wanted to have a CFP designation to kind of just cement the experience.
I got you. So you're going to do the wealth management course after this, or?
I'm not sure. 'Cause
You're not sure.
Yeah.
I got you.
Hi, my name's Claudia Arthur. Been in banking for 20 plus years. Recently transitioned out of banking into kind of like personal financial coaching.
Okay.
So that's what this is about.
I got you. Personal financial coaching. Good.
Probably different than everyone else here. My name is Chanel Lang. I work at Bahama Accounts Payable in that area for about 15 plus years.
In Bahama?
No.
Okay. I just okay. Good.
Yeah,
Go.
originally from Freeport. I've been
got
here a
you.
year and a half, and I'm looking into changing the scope of my career into the. I was thinking more so into wealth management.
So you're always in Freeport? You're from Freeport?
Yeah, born here, raised in Freeport.
I got you. Welcome to Nassau.
Yeah.
You liking it?
It's fine. I'm always here. 90% of my family is here. So.
I got you. Okay.
Quentin Gibson. I work at Royal Alias Securities Trader. Feeling my way through my career, I just realized that I'm more, I like the part that I can help people, get their finances in order. And that's just more what I'm into. I feel it. I like helping people, talking to them about their money, what to do with it, and how best to manage it. So this is to kind of help further me on that path. And, maybe I even one point go out on my own thing.
I got you.
Yeah.
Thomasine Emmanuel, CIBC First Caribbean International Corporate Banking Private Wealth. I've been there.
I got you.
Yeah.
All that. Good.
All that. I've been with the bank for over 14 years.
Okay.
Served in various capacities. But I just decided about a year ago that I needed to get some certifications to couple with my MBA, BS, and all that. So I did the CSC last year, and now I'm embarking on this, and hopefully it's the boost that I need.
So what's the CSC?
Canadian Securities Course.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I like all that pizzazz on Thursday.
Let me stay
Go
on
ahead.
this side of town.
Let me get Lauren, and then we'll have our final person. This is Lauren. She's in. Well, she'll let you know. See, she got the luxury of laying down and having a glass. So
Hi, Lauren.
Sorry.
My name is Lorraine Cartwright. I'm currently stationed in Address as the branch manager. I'm with Scotiabank. I've been with the bank now for about 23 years. I decided to take this course really just to give me some more knowledge with helping customers, dealing with credit, just helping them with their finances. And I do have some spare time now that I'm in Address, like you said, so
Right.
just trying to make the best of it, yeah.
Andres, might as well take a class or two while you're there. Our last final person.
My name is Katrina Wims. I'm an executive agent at Family Guardian
Why did I know that?
Financial Services.
The insurance folks, sorry, they always get this extra, Go ahead.
What else? I'm 21 years in the industry. I think that's about it, eh?
That's good. You've been Family Guardian for how long?
6 years.
6 years. Like before, prior to that, you were.
I was a BAF as a manager for 15 years. I was a branch manager at Colina for 2 years, and there is my career.
I got you. All right, wonderful. So that's how we're going to be. It's a very interactive class. It's only 2.5 hours. So by the time as you get home, load shedding will be over and you'll have light. So, might as well get some free light right here. Free,
So
Lauren.
do have generator.
Lauren ain't got that. I don't know.
That's a good question.
But at least it's cool, so at least if it cuts off, you'll have a little coolness. It's a kind of.
You're not cool in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I said, come on. Drama.
You and sweater. But that's what it is. But it's great to be in this class. This is my second or third time teaching this. Other than this, I teach Intro to Finance and I also teach Fundamentals of Financial Services, BIFs. So we always encourage I'm on the board of BIFs, first vice president. So I'm always encouraging people to stay with BIFs and do what you got to do. Anybody else need the MBA? We have a wonderful chartered banker MBA program. That
Right
you
here,
can-
right?
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
I saw
Okay,
it.
in 2 years and you'll be done with your chartered banker designation and your MBA. And then based on your years of
What do you have to
service.
do to get that? What
You can kinda
required
cut
process they
down.
require you to have that?
Well, the thing is that based on your experience, also if you have what, 21 years?
21 years.
Yeah, you could cut off some classes based on your experience on the job. So
Wow.
you just let them know what you need and you may cut down to go to do the accelerated course
Right.
and be done in a year.
Okay.
All right, so you can just ask them at the front desk and we'll make sure that gets happening. All right, apart from that, client relationship skills. What's going to happen is as a CFP or a certified international financial planner, what's going to happen is that you have to meet clients. You more or less, you have to know your clients. Right now, in the banking world, in compliance, one of the biggest things is KYC, or know your customer, know your client. The reason why you know your client is not only so that you can sell them more products, but so that you can help map them and gauge them on where they want to go. The more you know your client, the more things you can sell. The more you know your client, the more you can protect the reputation of your bank. So the real reason why you do this part of the course is to help you to know how to negotiate, how to sell, how to kind of fit your client. Because one of the things that you must do as a CFP is that while you're in the business of sales, your ultimate goal is to ensure that your customer gets the best product, get best service that they could possibly get. So you're not just trying to rack up points, you're not just trying to kind of get your monthly quota out of the way. The main thing is that you have to ensure that your client gets the best service. All right, so when we talk about negotiating and selling skills, we'll start on page 3. Page 3 of the text.
You're in module 2, right?
Right, module 2, client relationship skills. So it starts off saying most involvements with a customer most involvements with the customer involve us in negotiation. We have products and services to offer, and the customer is the buyer. So you have to try to convince the customer that this is what's best for you. So it's almost like a parent who knows that, you know what? It's going to be real interactive. We're going to see how many persons have some sales skills. Send me this pen. So we're going to be interactive. Lauren, I'm not going to get you involved, but we get you involved. Sell me that pen.
At 6 o'clock maybe. Okay.
I know, right? Everything shut
Hey,
down.
you may meet your next client walking on the door. You're going to be able to sell them. You have 30 seconds to send me your pen. What happens is everybody, as a CFP, as a person who's in sales, you have to always have what they call an elevator pitch. Anybody watches Shark Tank?
Yep.
Yeah,
Seen a couple
you
of
got
places.
a
that's
short
her
time frame of yeah, she like that.
Yeah.
A short frame of time to get things done and to convince them that you need this. So send me the pen.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just a student.
No problem.
Okay.
I know the feeling. Pardon?
It's just difficult to sell a product that you don't know and you have passion about it, you don't see value in it.
Right. That's a part of it. So do you see value in your pen?
Yes, I
If
do.
you don't, I like the pen. I mean, you can give me the pen.
No,
But
I see value in my pen because what it does is it allows me to write more fluidly and swiftly. It's clearer. It doesn't have all that excess ink. So, and it's wonderful to look at, and it's wonderful to feel between your fingers.
See? Easy. So the more you do it, and don't worry, I'm going to be picking on everybody in here so everybody feels comfortable. You don't know when I'm going to drop down on you. So just, always be prepared. And the more sleepy you look, the more I drop on you. The more you look at
I
it.
can barely keep my eyes open.
You understand?
Tells me.
Now you know. All right? So what we must remember is the traditional needs or satisfaction approach to the marketing of bank services. We talk about bank services, but also whether you're insurance, whether you're selling your own products, or whether you're just a personal financial planner, these are the stuff. One, you must know your products and know your services. I can pick on you. Yeah, I can pick. No, I can pick on you. Let me see. Oh, there you go. I like that. You have this RBC, but I keep looking at this and I think you're an RBC, but you're not an RBC, right?
I used to be with RBC.
You used to be an RBC.
Cover that up.
All right, let me try it out. What's Fidelity's savings account rate?
I work at Fidelity.
Yeah, but you work close enough.
I do not work close at all.
Oh, you have to get you out. You have to get you out of the situation, right? What's your savings account?
I think the savings is actually 0.75.
0.75.
Yeah, I think it's 0.75.
Lauren, what's the savings account? What you call it? Interest rate. 0.01, eh?
Where's that?
Yeah.
That sounds like what RBC's is.
That's at Scotiabank.
First Caribbean is
Scotiabank is
0.015.
Fidelity has the best right now.
Fidelity and Commonwealth.
There you go. You know that, right?
1.25.
Because you're at First Caribbean?
No, I just called them this week.
I got you.
She's cheating.
0.025.
0.025, right? So Commonwealth is
0.25.
0.25. The next thing is not only do you know your customers or know your product, but you must also know your competition. Because you have to know that when you get 0.25, 0.05, 0.1, people aren't really staying with banks or have loyalty to banks based on interest rates. It's really your service. That's the only thing that's going to keep people. That's the only thing that's going to help them. Right, because you and then as a person who sells products, not only must you know your product and your service, you must know what your competitors are. Right? What happens is when you have basketball players, they spend countless hours not just practicing, but they spend countless hours watching other teams play basketball so that they'll know what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and to know how we're going to work against it. Okay? So that's essentially what you have to do as a personal financial planner. Now, as a personal financial planner, you may not be in a position where you are in direct competition with anybody else, but you must know everybody's rates and everybody's kind of service fees and all that, because you have to now tell your customer what is the best rate to get or what is the best bank to go with. All right?
Question, if you focus in more on, like, I'm in the business section, right? I would know the rates and the information for the business, but would you say as a CFP that I should also branch out to know the competition and so forth for the personal side as well?
It adds value to you because then when you build a relationship with your customers, you may find customers who may not yet be your business clients. But if you funnel them through the bank and become their banker, then you can easily, when they get a certain level, because you'll be more or less training them or helping them build wealth. When they get to a certain wealthy capacity, then they come over to you. But you must be able to know how to guide them, because not everybody who comes to you qualifies to be coming to your wealth space. So it helps you to build a relationship with your branches and to watch that relationship grow. So the whole thing about it is that it's good to know not only your competitors but other units within your own bank so that you can be better served.
You find that business clients have personal needs as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the thing is too, you have times when they may know somebody who you can refer them to, and that builds an entire relationship with the entire family. Okay, so it's always good to
They come to you for
know.
one specific thing relating to their business, but sometimes they have a personal need for themselves, for personal financing.
Yeah, I also know that the thing with that is that we kind of like poach.
Hey, tell the truth, and she knows that.
Because and we have like products that cater towards that though, like
Excuse me, keep talking.
like the business side, right? We give 0% for our businesses. But if you're an individual and you decide that you want to stay with me as an individual, you no longer get those benefits as far as the branch with those 0.025. You get 0%.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
But
wow.
you just get my personal service.
Oh, wow.
So they treat
No,
you
doesn't
as
make
a
sense to me to
business
stay.
customer. They don't treat you as a
No,
business and a
you
person.
still, you would be coded as personal, but you would be under the private wealth business side. So you still have 0%, but you just get my personalized service.
But with you then, knowing that,
0%.
still,
Who would have thought?
like,
I
send down
a lot of customers still, I tell them the benefits.
and they still want to stay
and
with you
They still want to
for
stay
the
with me
personal
for the personal
service.
service.
Because I would know I have somebody when I need it, I can call them. And if my card acting up, I don't know how to call card services, but I call
I just
And is
gotta
this
ask
local
that question again.
customers or international
Yeah.
customers?
You say to the customers they get 0%,
0%,
and they still choose
and
to
they
do.
still choose me. And they also
Crazy.
get charged a lot of fees.
Oh my
You
God.
must be
Personalized
dang good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know, Lauren, I hope you like it.
Lauren knows how to sell that pen.
You getting a good commission from this. You because
No, see, I didn't want to say because a lot of customers have a lot of bad experiences
With the
within
branches. Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
And it's very
That's true.
frustrating, and I say, you know what, I prefer to pay $200 for Tennessee, and I know she can get it done.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
and
true.
if it's not money that they have to invest, they don't expect to get anything on it. It's their kind of day-to-day play money, whatever, and it's
Exactly.
just
Just
sit
like
there.
putting
They
the money
don't
under the
have to make-
mattress. It's just like
Exactly,
putting
right.
it under the mattress.
It's just
and
to
that's
save
it.
you.
Exactly, you understand? But at least
That's just
you could
crazy.
also sell them about
But then you
deposit insurance that you get up to $50,000 secured. You gotta be able to sell.
Recommended
But you gotta know this.
side.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Exactly. All right. So the next thing is identify a customer, potential customer's needs by fully understanding the company's culture. So not only must you know your product and service, but you must also know your company. You must know what your company does and what your company doesn't do, because you don't want to oversell what what you know your company doesn't do. And that's why it's important to have a good relationship with compliance, a good relationship with audit, because they'll kind of guide you to know we don't take these kind of customers. We don't take this particular group of customers because of sanctions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you always have to ensure that you're always in step with what's going on. All right? Thirdly, you must identify a need. A need is a want or desire upon which we can take action to satisfy. A need is a want or desire upon which we can take action to satisfy. Fourthly, do not talk products and services until customers' needs are established. Has anybody ever been in a place where where the person just wanted to get a sale to them and did not consider their need? Did you stay?
Yeah.
Did you stay? Because insurance people, they always
They're trying to push a policy.
always, and you know, they trying to sell you whole life forever. You know whole life here. But anyway, but yeah. but you know,
Don't touch that.
I know, right?
I'm an expert in
I ain't
insurance.
gonna touch that. I ain't gonna touch that. I ain't gonna touch that.
Don't touch
I ain't gonna touch
that.
that. But I can just say, you know.
Expert.
I got you. All right, and the final thing is you must place emphasis on the features that are to the customers or potential customers advantages. And so the thing is, it may not garner you points, it may not garner you commission, but you are still responsible to give them what is best for them. I know it's kind of hard, it's kind of a tightrope, and then even in some banks, you have this thing that you have this thing called tied selling and cross selling. Anybody familiar with that?
Tide selling, I don't know tide selling.
Tied selling. You have something called tied. Lauren, you remember tied and cross selling?
Yes, yes.
If not, we'll we'll ensure that we write that down. Tied selling and cross selling. Lauren, help us out with tied and cross selling.
Well, I mean, I'm more familiar with the cross-selling. It's where you try to sell as many of the products to the customer at one time, so that they don't have to come back into the bank. You know, at different times. So if you're doing a mortgage, you want to do the credit card, the social line, all the savings account. Just try to do everything. Once they're interested in and once they qualify, do everything one time. All the insurance needs everything one time.
And that's cross selling. Tied selling
Right.
is when you go ahead.
No, I didn't have much experience with
With
tide
tide selling.
selling.
Tied selling is more or less the I don't want to say unethical kind of thing, whereas you just more or less tie another product onto your customer. They don't need it, but you tie it on. So then, in essence, you're not supposed to tell the customer you have to get insurance.
So automatically.
It's their option. You can offer them insurance, but you don't automatically tie insurance with their mortgage, because they may be able to get insurance cheaper somewhere else.
But do they know
But
that this is tied to it, or do they not know?
Who's
Tied.
this?
if you're tying another product onto something that you're recommending for a customer, do they do this tied selling? Is that letting them know that it's there, or that's not letting them know it's there?
No, tied selling is, well, it's totally unethical to not let them know it's tacked on.
Right.
You ought to be able to disclose to the customer it's tacked on, but tied selling is telling them, you have to get this product with this.
Wow.
So
Which
making
is
it
that?
mandatory.
Pardon me, I don't know what you're talking
Should they
about.
have it auto
As
loans,
far
like
as
life
mortgages?
insurance, like good loans, they always say get life insurance.
Right, they can, Mama, they can offer it. They can offer it, but they can't force you to take it. Now let me clarify this point too.
They-
Let me clarify this point, because your mortgage may need insurance as coverage.
But you don't get it from them.
You don't have to get it from them.
Okay, I got you.
But they
Okay.
put it into the mortgage and say, yeah.
I applied to Scotia a few years ago to
Mm.
get that lower rate,
Mhm.
and a part of the package was that I had to get the insurance via escrow for the mortgage. So I didn't have a choice, and I asked the specific question, do I have a choice?
Do I have to? And they said no.
You have to.
Okay, you can whisper to me off camera. And we'll ensure that we
So you did get
get
it?
that sorted out.
Wow.
You didn't get the mortgage, you didn't get the insurance.
I didn't get either, I stayed where I was.
What a time.
Wow.
We apologize on behalf of Lauren, I and this management and staff.
The insurance, that would have been homeowners insurance, that would have been tied to the, not say tied, but the escrow account would have been the
Yes.
homeowners insurance.
Right.
Yes, but,
But the question
the
is,
question is.
was it offered,
Did it have to
offered,
be tied?
Or was
or
it
was it
mandatory?
mandatory?
And it was mandatory.
It's mandatory for her to have the homeowners insurance now and for the escrow account to be set up. The customer has the choice to pick which insurance company she wants to deal with.
And that's the,
You
that's
think
the.
Yeah,
it was
see, the
communicated
option.
wrong?
No, he was specific. I was gonna ask a specific
Okay, make me to
question.
understand. I have a
Because
question for persons in banking that
I
I
actually
really
have mine,
do not understand.
Selena.
Mm.
In the insurance industry, the banks make it a requirement for persons to seek out life insurance
Yes.
in order to get the mortgage, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Why is it when clients ought not to pay the premiums that the bank pay the life insurance policy when they in fact are the beneficiaries, they're the owner, because the policy is assigned to them as a security? Why don't they pay the premiums? That's not just one bank, that's straight across the board. The only bank
Why
that I
don't
know-
they pay the?
No, they
why
don't.
don't they?
Why don't they?
Because they're the beneficiary.
They're the beneficiary, they're the owner. Why won't they pay it? It's their security. If the person drop down dead and the policy lapsed, they get nothing. So
No.
but here's the
they're
thing.
dying.
There's one bank in the Bahamas. Once an agent or the company contacts them and says to them that this person is delinquent on this policy that's signed to them, they send an annual check. One bank, Commonwealth.
I figured that.
No other bank does it.
Okay,
RBC, Scotia, First Caribbean, BOB, none.
You
But
don't.
Commonwealth Bank, they can pay that
Well,
premium.
RBC, you don't
Yeah,
even
but
have to
you
have life
understand
insurance
that
anymore.
the customer
You don't
paying
have
them.
to tax it on the mortgage.
Yeah,
It
they're
don't matter.
paying that.
It
Because
do not
they're tacking
matter.
right on.
I can't agree
It
with
don't
that.
matter.
I can't agree with that, because I also worked in debt recovery at one time.
Right.
Anytime we have an agent, whether it's a condo association or whatnot, anything that's delinquent on that property, if you contact us, we pay it right away.
Which bank are you?
First Caribbean.
Oh my God, listen, please. I've dealt with all of them.
I
They don't pay it.
I was in debt recovery for over 5
They
years.
do not pay it.
But I know the ones that qualify.
I don't understand
So
it.
your desk.
I can be honest with you,
That's-
I find that if the
Probably
bank,
only when
if
it
the
goes
bank
into default.
have
Maybe
a,
only if
have
the
a
loan
person
goes
that
into default.
passes, that is deceased, and that policy is assigned to them, and they find out that account is lapsed, the bank should have a very firm policy on whoever's in charge of that area, that they should be gone. Because that's the bank security that they lost out on. 'Cause
Right.
But maybe they
This
look
is
at,
crazy.
maybe they look at an analysis of how many people actually died, and we don't,
That's crazy.
you know,
That's why they maybe
maybe it's not worth their while to do
Because they
it.
wanna make sure it's built into the mortgage. When you pay the mortgage, the premium's being paid and,
Right.
you
No,
know.
I'm not talking about those policies.
That's the escrow.
I'm
Yeah.
not
That's
talking about
homeowners
those.
That's
insurance.
homeowners, that's escrow. You
You're
can-
talking about the optional one where you gotta have insurance outside.
As a
Yeah,
collateral
I'm saying
for
that's
the
what they
loan,
do.
for the
It's
initial loan.
mandatory that you tie it to the mortgage with the bank.
Right.
Make
No,
sure
normally
it's
it's
independent.
mandatory that you get life insurance, but where you come across this
How you
is
pay
when
it.
they tell you that you have to buy the bank's insurance.
Insurance.
Right, that's what I'm saying, that's
Yeah.
what you know, the best route for the bank, make it tack it on to you, because they're gonna slip under you guys.
That may be the best route for the bank, but that's not the best route for the client.
Because it may be cheaper to get it outside and just tie it in,
It's not
as
the best
opposed
decision
to,
apply,
you
not
know.
long term
What I'm
especially.
saying is for the bank, that's where they can protect their interest.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I understand that, but
Not everybody.
not everybody does that, that's one. But I just, for the life of me, couldn't understand why the banks insist on them getting life insurance, insist on it being assigned to them, and then when the client years later run in default, they wouldn't make the payments. And sometimes, a lot of cases I've seen where the policy actually lasts. And just with my slight knowledge in the legal aspect, I find that shocking that the bank would actually let
Yes,
those
they
policies
also
that are
have the
signed to them
mortgage, I mean,
last.
they also have the property as theirs anyway, so they probably comfortable just possessing the property.
Yeah,
and
it's
take the property
It's obviously
in.
not worth it, yeah.
Nice, easy, go away.
They've done a cost analysis
They
and
do,
all
I
that.
get- I
they
get
don't
more
believe
money
it,
for
they'll
the
just take the house.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when it says, remember that we are selling solutions to customers, potential customers' problems, they may not even be aware of the need that you identified. Alright, so sometimes customers don't even know what they need. But you having knowledge of the industry, knowledge of what's going on, knowledge of all of your bank's products and services, you'll know what fits best or better for your client. Sometimes your client has a savings account that has exorbitant fees, and it's your role to tell the client, this may not be working for you. How about you open this account?
But then, I think maybe financial planners can do that, but not bankers. Bankers, they won't. If you're paying the highest fee, they're good with that.
Right, we talking about the bankers who are CFPs, you know? We're talking about the bankers who are CFPs. Yeah.
Supervisor, I told this customer they're coming to this product
Because-
because the fees are less.
Because when you finish, and it's kind of strange because the thing is that you have to look at ethics and we'll touch ethics too, because you have to look at ethics in such a way that the what do they call it, the quotas that banks are giving salespersons within the banks can sometimes drive them to being unethical. That's why the parliamentarians said they wanted to raise, because they say if you don't pay as much, you force us to do little things on the side, you know? But
That's another story.
but that's a whole other story for another day. But that was one of the arguments. They say if you don't pay us, well, you know, you cost us to, you know.
But I think that the industry, the financial industry as a whole, it's going to a place where you need to have a personal financial advisor, because each service provider is trying to push their product to generate the great amount of revenue, and they're not thinking
Because
of your
these
best interest.
because these
Right.
quotas
Yeah.
are getting more exorbitant,
Wow.
you know, and so we have to ensure that we guide our customers down the right path. So initially, we should.
So let me just
Go
put a
ahead.
little plug in there, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, I'm gonna use my own personal experience. Years ago, when I applied for my mortgage, the loan officer, she gave it to me, 25 years, right? 25-year mortgage. And I didn't understand, I was so happy and so excited to get the mortgage, it was like, 25 years, hell yeah! But not realizing, after a year or two settling in my home, I did the calculation on my mortgage, I multiplied that by the years, months, did the actual breakdown, and realized I was paying twice, almost 3 times as much for this home from what I initially borrowed. So here's what I did. So what I did was I went back into to my loan officer and I said, I want to bring this down to a 20-year loan. And this was years ago. I did this like literally in the 2nd year of my mortgage. I said, I'm going to bring this down to 20 years. She said, oh, Katrina, it's going to cost you more money for mortgage. I said, I'm going to make the sacrifice. I'm not paying you all 3 times the amount on this couple of dollars I borrowed. I said, it just won't add up. It's just not sitting well with me. So she did it for 20 years. And luckily, you know, at the age that I am, which is still very young,
Right.
mortgage free, right?
There you go.
Mortgage free. So, you know, her agenda of, and see, this is something she touched on. Why is it that the client's interest isn't put first? I mean, I was young,
Because
26
they're
at the
business,
time.
that's why you need-
You have to
Why
understand.
tack on me a
Banks
25
are
year
in
loan when you
the
could
banks
have
are in the
20-year loan?
business to make
money.
money.
Yeah, no,
We ain't
no.
for nothing else but to
Exactly,
make
that's why
money.
you need.
Make money is
advisor.
one thing, but keeping your clients for an entire lifetime is another. Because of that experience, I can't wait. I wouldn't have.
I saying, but that's just the business. You know what I mean? You gotta.
No, but see?
Personally, you gotta do that. Just take that on yourself.
See, that is why I'm taking this course.
Right.
I'm taking this course because it has to be more than just, it has to be a bigger picture than just revenue for the customer. If I treat this client right, I'm not only gonna get her, I'm gonna probably get her children, her sister, her auntie, all of her family members coming to me because I recommended the right thing for her financially and trying to save her money. I'm just thinking that there has to be a bigger picture. And it's almost as if the banks don't look at that.
I mean, you may obviously, you know, that person in insurance industry, but there's a lot of insurance agents out there.
That do the same foolishness.
Exactly, they will send you every year more and more life insurance. They wouldn't say, go and invest in this mutual fund, or go and do this, and you know what I'm saying? And so that's why we all need independent, we need personal financial advisors in this country.
But because
service
the
providers are
company-
raping the people.
The company want the agents to sell the life policy.
Yes,
They
so that's
was
why
like,
you need.
sell it out, sell it
Yes,
out,
that's
sell
why
it
you
out.
need to have a
But it
financial
cannot
advisor
be
who's
like
gonna tell you,
that.
this is the amount of insurance you need, this is the investment you need, this
cannot
is the
be.
structure
I'm
you need,
telling you.
companies.
And imagine how much money you would have spent
Exactly.
over your lifetime had you not had the opportunity to. It's making it a bit harder now because social media, once somebody gets a bad rap, everybody just, you know, but so social media has its benefits but also its downfalls, you know, because somebody could give some wrong information and that's spread too, you know, so
Faster than the right.
you understand.
Because more educated as well because of social media. You know,
Right.
they know that there's products out there. I can put my money here and get 5%. Why should I leave it here and get 0%? You know?
Exactly.
But Katrina, I have a comment on that.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct, as far as 2-3 times sometimes.
Right.
But I think it also depends on the individual itself or if they have a financial planner. Because yes, you realize what was happening. You took it in and you said, you know what, restructure this so I can have this for a shorter period of time, right? But another option could have been that, you know, okay, yeah, I realize what's happening. Because you were younger at the time, you know, even though you may have been
26.
able,
Very young.
you may have been able to afford the initial mortgage.
Right.
It could have been a buffer where, yeah, I could say, you know what, I'm gonna put an extra $1,000 on the principal only, rather than just making the regular payment, so that reduces my principal. That reduces my principal.
People told
But
me
it
that.
also leaves you with that buffer where, let's say your payment is supposed to be
Something did
$1,500,
happen.
something happens, you
Yeah.
can still pay that $1,500 rather than paying that $2,000 or $2,500 every month. So it still leaves you a buffer, but you're still making a financially sound decision by making those extra principal payments.
Now, sometimes banks too only allow you a
They actually
6%
charge you when you pay off
Yeah.
early too.
So another
Within
thing
the
you
first
could look
3
at though
years.
Some, yeah,
is
the first year.
if you let's say you're paying less, so you have more money available to you on a yearly
Also
basis.
invest.
You could use that money to now make probably 8-10% versus paying 3%. You know what I mean? Getting rid of a 3% charge. So you can use it's a lot of different ways to look at it. It's not
No, but why not give me those options?
because that's not
Right,
what we do.
right.
Why not give me those options?
Because if I give it an option, then you're gonna take that extra money that I could have gotten
it's just-
and go to
it's
run.
Then
That's not what they do.
I can
Yeah, I
walk
get
away.
that.
I can walk away
I
from my
agree,
loan
I-
officer and say, "Whoa, my loan officer gave me these 3 options. I
Yeah.
chose this one."
I agree
And
with
honey
you.
gun, I'm gonna get you 3
I
of my
give you that,
coworkers
but
and blah
that
blah.
loan officer
And
is not a CFP.
Yeah, that's not what they do.
Sometimes loan officers don't know. They just get these
And that's
numbers
because
in
they
front of
don't
them
know.
and be
They
like,
don't know
They
too.
just,
So,
don't
one thing
understand.
I
Yeah,
my
exactly.
loan
A lot of
officer shoot
times-
all the way to the top in RBC. Now she's one of the big kahunas up there. I'm telling you, she was so aggressive on getting that mortgages sold. Yeah,
That's
she
what
was
it was.
she was relentless. She was relentless.
she was bringing in that money.
Because I'm even in the
mortgage.
business I'm in,
What a time.
many times.
But are there
I've-
investments that have 8 to 9% in the country?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
You said investments are how much percent?
8 to 10. You said 8 to 10. That you could take that extra money that you were going to pay there and
But then that's
Fixed
high
rates.
risk.
I never really
I mean, I'm talking.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, I'm not even talking. I'm talking like fixed rates. I'm not talking about even. I'm not even talking about.
Then that's
I have to come and talk to you.
No, these are local.
That's
you know.
probably credit union.
Yeah, but
You
then
should have
you
seen
have-
that.
I need to come and talk to
Then
you.
it's different.
Credit union.
See, I got your whole client just
I understand what you're saying. So some stuff, some like 8 to 10% securities, you know, that sometimes those like minimum 10,000. You have to be certain accounts and stuff like that. I understand that.
They never trickle down to the locals. You know,
These
the big
particular
boys
ones
get them
we're
even
talking
before
about,
they
yeah,
don't even come to the market, you know?
Because you only have an 8 to 10% before. And the reason why we have that is because they can tell us we need to put that down right away.
You know?
At the end of the day,
But still, you have done
you know, like I said, these options
But
are
see,
out
that's
there.
why
That's
you
all
know
it is.
that's why he has a relationship with Fidelity, but
Right.
probably not no more, but relation with Fidelity.
Somewhat,
So you open your
somewhat.
ASO account and you save for that 10,000. When you get that 10,000, then that
Exactly.
automatically goes over there.
Exactly.
So that's why it's good to have a relationship, even if you're in private banking with a commercial bank, to kind of help people get to a certain goal, and then you grab them because you already walked them through this process,
Yeah.
and they're
And the
customer for
banks
life.
have them totally separate, they're like two separate companies,
But
private and.
Well, now
Yeah.
they
Maybe you're wrong for that, but they was always never, they was never really the same company, it was
Yeah.
always
No.
separate, but, about like you're saying with, the loan position give you options. What I do, I always give people options, I always show them, now, I kinda talk in favor of my company, well, of course, I give them the options. And many times, I have people that don't come back or do something else, and I lose it on the business,
Yeah.
but that's only because I know, and I feel, have a conscience of it. So a lot of people, they're not thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's
matter.
I don't know if it's them not
Yeah.
wanting to be ethical.
We're gonna touch
I don't think
we're gonna touch
it's intentional.
ethics in the same class if we get somewhere down there, because if you're gonna be
It is
dealing with
intentional.
customers, you have to be ethical. You have to be ethical. Well, you should be ethical.
But like you said, okay, my parents, they live on the island, and they came, Finto, I think it was winding down or whatever, and they did something without even letting me know. And so they went to Finto and they wanted to move their money, and Finto sent them to Royal Fidelity, their affiliate,
Different.
locked them into some mutual fund thing that they were locked in for 3 years. See? And they come, I would say, go to C5, you don't have no commitment, you could put it in and 30 days later take it.
Yeah, people tell them
And that's
they were
how
locked
banks
in.
work together and they.
Yeah, people told them they were locked in, but they all locked in.
They weren't locked in.
From my
You come out,
understanding,
you pay a penalty.
But you pay a penalty regardless.
What I'm saying is they
I'm saying-
could, what I'm saying is they wouldn't have said, you
C5
can't
penalty
say,
also.
go to C5, no,
Right.
C5 have a bond fund and you don't pay, no penalties. No penalty to go in or out, you see what I'm saying? Or, I guess found out or whoever.
I
But
think
that's what I'm saying.
CFA has a penalty once you come out before a certain date.
No, it's not locked
The
in.
bond fund?
No, it's all of them, you go in, but you can't come before 30 days because it's a monthly fund.
Right.
You see? Yeah.
Yeah, they tell, no, that's what the penalty is if you come up before that 30 days.
Right.
What's the rate? What's the rate?
That's another thing,
But that's that
I know
mutual
she filed a
fund.
bond fund rate, it's not the same as ours.
Y'all
So,
know about it.
yeah.
How much your
I-
minimum?
30
What's your
days?
minimum?
That's pretty
For the
good.
fund is 1,000.
30 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
You hear
monthly
me
fund.
shortly.
Okay, so-
I need to come over there.
Right.
Sorry, the newspaper, you can look at the newspaper, it's
That's
on the
true.
six every day.
That's true.
But
That's
our
in the
fund is.
We only read,
Hey, I'm
They
gonna
run-
go
they
there.
run
we only
different-
read Thursday
different-
paper
yeah.
for
We're
For the obituary. I don't
But-
do that.
I mean, I understand you saying the lockup thing, but that goes back to where I say people don't come back and I tell them, well, look, I explained to them, well, look, this is not liquid cash, and these are stipulations as far as fees goes and then redemptions goes.
I was giving that example to say that, see, the bank isn't gonna refer you to a competitor.
Oh,
They're
I'm
gonna
gonna
send
tell
you
you
somewhere
to
else
see
and
that.
sell you what they have when they know that you could get better elsewhere. So that's where
Right.
personal.
And that's
comes
what,
into
but that's
play,
why
you know?
customers, we always also teach our customers to educate themselves.
Yeah.
And a number of reasons we get locked into stuff is because we don't educate ourselves on what's going on and what's.
How many of us in here watched the Madoff movie?
Me.
I wanted to watch that Madoff movie. Let's have a conversation after everybody in class watch that Madoff movie.
What's the name of it?
Madoff.
Madoff?
Yes, Madoff. That's a documentary of Bernie
Right.
Madoff. Everybody need to watch that movie.
Oh, the pyramid scheme guy? That's
Yeah, the pyramid scheme.
Oh, okay.
Oh
I
my
heard
God.
about it, I read the stories.
So let's look at
Watch the
time.
movie on that, the documentary on that.
Let's look at time management. That's page 4.
Right.
Time management. Our time is our time is a very precious commodity. So our first part is you must know your client, you must know your product, you must know your bank, you must know all of the legal ramifications around what you're
Okay,
selling.
1 minute,
Dino.
1 minute. You started to talk about cross-selling a little bit. Emphasize, you talked a bit about.
Tide selling is the less ethical thing where you have to tell the client that they have to buy this
Right, when they
product
buy,
which
they
is
don't have
yours.
to.
Right. It's mandatory that you have insurance, but it's unmandatory you have to get ours. Cross selling is when you have a product and there's another product that can benefit your client. I say, oh, while you're getting this, maybe you want to consider this. So you want to get a savings account, maybe you want to also consider a fixed deposit. Or maybe you have a savings account, maybe you need a credit card. Not our high
Special
credit
credit
card.
card. Oh my God.
The offshore banking sector, if a client has a company, I would say to him, okay, you either She put a trust in place for succession planning or put a will into place. So it's kind of, you know, you have
And you
to
kind of
find out
cross,
what else you need.
and you sell trust, and you sell
Exactly.
will, estate planning and stuff like that. So that's how you
Cross
support, a good salesperson always sells another product that their bank has.
Mhm.
But it's how you do it, it's the ethics behind it.
Mhm.
Well, I don't have
If it
experience in
benefits the
their
client, not
banking
benefit
sales,
yourself.
but I have experience in sales.
Right.
So it's the same thing.
So it's the same thing.
I grew up working in my godmother's shoe store. Simple,
Right.
simple sales. Learning how you're not just selling the shoe, but you need to
You
get
gotta
a
sell a
bag.
necklace, and you
You
gotta
can sell a bag.
And you get a bag, and you get a hanky,
You
and you get a hanky, you get a
Before you come in the store, you spending $35. So you finish with me, you spending $75 to
and
$100.
it's the same concept.
I was doing that from I was 9, so that
Exactly.
just carried on.
Sales, right?
Wow.
So the thing is, time management. One, we need to make sure that we have the most effective use of our time. We need to ensure that we are prioritizing our workload, because not everything that's urgent is important. And not everything that's important is urgent. So you have to know how to have time management. We need to allow time to make considered decisions. Sometimes Donald Trump says 65% of his time is just thinking. He just thinking. I think he just plans.
All that time you doing all that time in thinking.
Yeah, he just strategizes.
I don't think you doing all that time in thinking.
He just strategizing, you know? That just means that he on the golf course he just strategizing.
I don't know, he like tweet too much. He
Yeah,
can't, he don't
he's
get
like
much sick. It's all
65% of his time he just chilling, right? But you must always factor in time in your workday to just kind of
Work smart.
decompress, to think. And that's how you kind of mull ideas over. We need to meet set deadlines, and we must always achieve our aims. To maximize our time each day, we must, one, define our objectives. So every day you get up, you must define your objective. Now I'm not saying that you live as a CFP or wherever you are. It doesn't mean that you necessarily live by a checklist.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes you're doing a checklist, being busy, completing a checklist, but you're not being effective. Okay, so you have to ensure that your time is spent effectively. Then you must also, to maximize your day, you must undertake planned activities to meet objectives. Because during your day, a number of things can come across your desk, a number of emails pop up, which will kind of sidetrack you from what you had planned. You must ensure that you spend time. So even with your emails, you have to designate, I'm using this time for emails. But we're not going to give you a set time, because everybody works differently. Some people work better in the mornings. Some people work better from 10 in the night. Some people work better 3 o'clock in the morning. So you have to know yourself. So part of being a CFP is knowing yourself, knowing what works best for you. People like me, I'm not really a morning person,
I'm not a
so I don't like to talk before 11 o'clock. And I realized that's the best time for me to work, because I ain't talking. But now after 11, I used to work at Fidelity. 11 o'clock, I get from my desk, you can see me coming around, you know, talking, because I'm now up, right? I don't care what coffee or whatever I drink before 11, I'm not up until 11 o'clock. My time to be up is 11 to 3, because after 3, I start.
Most alert.
2 o'clock for me.
Yeah, 2, I start.
I go 10 to 2.
Yeah, I start going back down. So I'm 11 to 3, you're 10 to 2. But you have to know yourself. You have to know when is the time to book your clients. You have to know when is the time for you to be selling. Your best time to sell is between 10 to 2. Why? Because you're on high energy, high alert. If someone tell you no, you just bounce off to the next one. If someone tell you no before 10 o'clock, you know, so what? I go home. See me? Let me look at my resume, let me dust it off, because before...
If I can't log into my systems properly before then it's me.
What?
Okay, I'm not working today.
Right.
You're going to tell me I would have stayed home. I'm not logging in.
But you have to know
I
yourself.
ain't answering the phone. I just
You have to know yourself. But all your appointments 10 to 2, because your customer always feels like you always on peak.
For me, my customers are cross vendors.
I got
Because I
you.
do it AP. And literally, even my departments that want to meet with me to discuss a vendor situation, I tell them my schedule is 9 to 6. I walk in the door sometimes 8:30. I sit to my desk. Don't call me before 10. No, don't make any appointments. I had someone tell me, say, okay, you're gonna work 9 o'clock, we can meet at 9:30. Say, no. And not just that, hold on, not just that. My belly is timed between 12 and 1.
Right.
So, nothing.
So you hungry?
That is,
Don't talk to me when
no,
I'm
because
hungry.
I don't function.
You know, I am
You can
functioning.
schedule them
But you know you.
Yeah, I know me, it don't make any
You know
sense.
you. You know what job works for you. You know you. All right. To maximize our time each day, we must also monitor our
That's
activities.
easy when you're working maybe in domestic banking, but when you're working in international banking, you have so many different times. So those emails coming in all hours.
But then you-
Yeah, your emails
But
come in.
then you know what for you. I'm waiting for you.
No, see, you can see them coming in.
You know what? Exactly.
Emails coming in, 3
got
o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
And people leaving messages,
What's up,
7
man?
o'clock on my desk, one talking about, well, where are you? I'm like, you know what?
Sundays, I go to work on a
I need to
Sunday.
call you after 10 o'clock.
I'm off on Sunday, but I have emails coming in on Sunday from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock dealing with such different bills and stuff like that.
Right.
I might be to work on Sunday, but I came into work on Sunday to
do
focus
something
on
else.
this specific.
Because nobody else bothering you.
Because nobody bothering me.
And
So
nobody come
those
work on you.
emails will get answered Monday.
Exactly. See?
Yeah,
So what
but-
takes up your time? This is what takes up our time. Traveling to and from our place of work. Telephone calls take up our time. Letter and report writing.
Especially reports.
Hate
Oh.
meetings.
Oh my
Take,
God.
sometimes meetings that could have taken an email. Those are the meetings that kind of mess you up.
I know I didn't mean to go, sorry about the dentist now.
Yeah, I know. Because you could tell me this on
Meetings can
email.
get ridiculous though.
Yeah.
And then, or you have a meeting.
Yeah.
You have a meeting that lasts. Lauren can tell you we work in Meeting Central. We meet for everything. Right, Lauren?
When I got
And then she-
That is correct.
We meet for
It can't be worse than
everything.
RBC.
Right?
It can't be worse than RBC.
Yeah. So we meet and then we decide we're gonna meet again. So that kind of thing. But that's the culture. Because the thing is in regional kind of corporations like Scotia, you report to different people, different hubs. You have folk in Trinidad you report to, Barbados you report to, Canada you report to. Everybody has their own obligations for you. So you may have one boss you report to, but then your boss has a boss, and you report to everybody essentially up the line. All right. So you kind of have to know your environment, and know if this is for you or if it isn't for you. What takes your time? Organizational duties. Customer visit. Customers who just pop in.
Oh, God.
Y'all know the customers who just...
Oh,
Or they see you walk across the bank and they be like, oh,
Yeah.
you know those customers.
Or they decided that they wanted to take a weekend getaway and then they pop in.
Right. You know those kind of customers. I ain't got them kind of customers. But I'm Quentin's customer. I know if something crossed my mind, I just send him in. I know that's his rapid state, but then he's answer fast. I know he's doing big answer
I
fast.
be doing a lot. Trust me.
And so I send an email in 10 minutes, Quentin answer me. So I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Right? And then delegation and monitoring. So you have to know how to delegate. You have to know how to monitor what you're doing. Some of the stuff that we do, you have to understand that someone else can do it. And so you have to know what works best for you. So your daily schedule, you must review a diary and consider appointments already made. 2, sometimes you don't even sometimes your appointment could just be an email you send to them, they sign it and they scan it back, and you don't need to meet for an hour. Okay? But sometimes, we live in a culture where our people like to see us face to face. We don't like, it's already a problem for us. A lot of our banks are now moving to regional
Back office.
telephone hubs. And so you have somebody in Jamaica answering the phone,
that is so
and Bahamians have a hard time
God.
to deal with that because we want to make sure, we don't know why somebody else
Yeah,
answering.
we I don't think
And
we
that
can
is why
get
You know-
banking is getting so much more clear.
Yes.
You get to speak to someone.
That's
Exactly.
true. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And
I
you're
have a
speaking to
situation,
someone in local.
family situation. My mom is the secretary for my uncle's company. He lives most 6 months of the year in Florida, but he's in the process of purchasing a piece of property in Freeport. So my mom is the former bank manager at RBC in Freeport.
I got you.
So she knows a lot of now. Of course, since she's retired about 7 years ago, she a lot has changed in banking, but not that much. Now in Freeport, you have a company you have to, when you have mortgage and stuff like, you have to put funds up for a bond.
Okay.
Okay, so back and forth in regards of releasing this bond for him to buy a property. And why does he have to release his bond? Because his company is still active. He shouldn't have to release his bond. But those questions were not coming from the local branch. Those questions were coming from
Regional.
who was Trinidad or one of them,
Regional.
which they have no knowledge of. Now there's the Bahamas, and then there's the city of Freeport, which deals with the Port Authority, which
Right.
is different rules and regulations when
Right.
it comes to companies. So it took so much, and my mom, of course, she had to go left, right, and center to call certain people and say, these people don't know what they're doing. How can I release the bond when the company is still active?
Right.
You know, so finally she spoke to someone that got sorted out locally in the branch and all that. But going through all these regional branches, that's why I agree. That's why the financial planner is definitely needed.
Bahamians,
She's like his financial planner because she
Exactly.
knows, you know.
and Bahamians too. And then as a financial planner, you know that, but you also know, like you said, a little bit of law, a little bit of this. Relationships are what make financial planners succeed. You have to know somebody in every bit. You are a realtor. You better know somebody in BEC, know somebody, BPL. You have to know somebody in BTC. You better know somebody in Cayman, Bahamas. Know somebody at Water Search. Know somebody in
Relationships.
It is relationships.
all that kind of stuff. So you have to know relationships. All right. The next thing is that you must schedule more flexible activities. All right. So things like letter writing and reading reports. Do that on your coffee time. You know, your spare time. When you really just yes, that time before 10 o'clock when you were seeing a body, close it down. You read a report.
That's why this laptop is coming, because I need to approve payroll this Monday, so I need to approve times
Exactly.
and set schedules. I can't do that during the day.
No.
I have to do this in my bed tonight.
Exactly.
I never take no work.
But that's where we are. And so you have to know it's you. Sometimes, like he said, he don't carry his work home. You work better at home. So, you have to know you. The thing is, next thing, schedule your morning to allow for unplanned interruptions. Telephone calls, meetings with colleagues, delegating tasks. And like we said, allow some thinking time. 2 important tasks first, and work in reverse order of liking to ensure that all relevant tasks are achieved within an acceptable time scale. What it's really saying is that do the things you don't want to do early in the morning, because the later the day goes, the more you do it, you won't do them, and the more that goes on your pile for tomorrow. So do your most difficult, like they say, eat the elephant first. Do the most difficult task at the beginning and work your way to the more fun things when your body kind of draining down at the end of the day. All right? Diarize, review, and meeting dates. Diarize, review, and meeting dates as appropriate. And like I said, build in time for yourself. You're your most valued asset. If you stop working, if you're not working at your peak, you are not going to give quality service to your customers. You are first. As a CFP, it's your expectation that your finances are together.
That's true.
Why you could be telling people about being debt free and about,
You tied up and broke.
and
Now you can,
things-
and then you can be mad at the person you helping because then you happen them.
Jacked up and fixing mine.
But every mechanic, they're kind of working, every beautician, they're here to be fixed. So I guess every financial planner is a broke one. I don't know.
That's true.
Because sometimes you can teach better, sometimes you teach better than you do.
You can't be the hairdresser, your hair jacked up and you're trying to come.
Yeah, because they have so much time happening on people here.
That's right.
You go to your doctor, they sick.
Every time you gotta give them
I had a family nurse, a nurse in the family, and every time you sick, you could call her, she's there, she has everything, they come in with everything, drips everything, come with everything. She, her stomach just kept swelling and swelling, and we knew something was going on. And sure enough, she refused to go to the doctor. What? She died of cancer. She refused to go to the doctor.
Sometimes you wonder why you won't go.
You would good nurse. And
I call her when I had my son. When I had my son, she was there. In fact, she lived with us. She's my mom's best friend. And sure enough,
wow.
So the thing
That's
is,
the truth,
how,
doctors, they like to give
so how do you become more organized? How many persons are organized? They would say they're organized.
I said my kind of.
How do you
Yeah.
say
I
organized?
something moments.
I'm a checklist kind of person.
You gotta catch me when I good. When I good, when I in my zone.
Yeah, this week today I was in my zone, you know.
Like technically, I clean. You clean the house normally, but when you're in your zone,
Yeah.
you be wiping on the top of the.
Yes, you're right.
You on top of the thing. You washing all the dishes again. Everything washed again. You know that. But you know you. I go in spurts.
Yeah, me too.
You gotta catch me good.
You just stay outside, but
Right.
I can't stay
Right.
outside.
You understand? But you gotta know you. So you have to know how to become organized. Each evening before you leave work, make a list of all the tasks that you would like to do on the following day.
I do that.
I know that.
I didn't know if I can do that because I ain't got that kind of patience.
Like if I know I'm going to work on Sunday, Friday, or if I'm home, Friday before I leave work, I'll write down what I plan on working on Sunday.
You see my
Lauren,
phone?
do you do a checklist?
I don't do a checklist, you know, but I write everything down.
Oh, yeah.
I found out that me keeping a book and just writing down things and then organizing it, prioritizing it,
See?
really helps. And
Yeah.
I think
People
in
like
the
me?
environment, you have
see
a
this?
lot of interruptions.
This is my entire month.
Oh, I
You have a lot of interruptions.
Planned, time for time.
Exactly.
I try.
No
I-
joke.
So you have to have
For
some
years.
time to try to put your desk.
Let me tell you the
in
truth.
order to start the next day fresh.
The truth is, I write a lot and I don't go back over it. I go to church and I write all the notes the preacher preach, but actually, if I know to find them, I don't know. I ain't so bad. I preach, right? I preach. And I preach, and when I don't like to write notes, I preach everything off of a sticky. You gotta fit 3 points. I'm a good Baptist. 3 points, and that's me. But I don't like to write.
Well, I guess it depends on the nature of your work, because, you know, in international banking, you deal with so many issues that could turn into litigation, so you have to make sure.
Yeah, you
that
better write
do
down.
it.
You better write down, 'cause don't mind me. You better write down. You better write down.
The first
Don't mind me.
I open my eyes in the morning and I actually start thinking about the stuff that I need to have done.
Yeah,
And then I just write a couple points and I know, okay, yes, I gotta get them done. And
I'm more do
that's it.
stuff
I don't do
like-
no lists and all this
Like I
time.
said, like
I don't-
reminders, tasks.
Yeah.
when you
Like
get
I see
something
people,
up,
like you see people, you
I
see,
can't, if I read it down.
you see,
I
calendar.
I can't.
That's
Let me
OCD
tell you
over there.
how serious
But
this phone
then
is.
again,
Let me tell you how serious
That's
this phone is.
OCD.
She insurance.
Let me tell you how serious this phone is. I can go back 5 years in my phone and I could pick out every single appointment,
That's
everything
client
I do
appointments
each
you
day.
have,
Client
right?
appointment,
Yeah, but
whether it's a call,
Yeah.
whether it's an email, whether it's a
Oh,
call.
wow.
Doesn't matter, 5 years, everything is locked in
Insurance.
this.
Yeah,
They gotta know who to track down
And guess what?
to pay the
All of
premium.
my appointments that I have already confirmed from now to the year to close out is already locked in this. And my phone gives me a reminder, call so and so, like real time.
That,
This-
hold on, that is time by itself.
This
Right,
don't
Just
play.
doing
You have
that.
to set time to plan time.
Yes,
Plan.
exactly.
But that's
I
why
don't
I say
waste
in the
time.
evenings,
I can tell you
when you're
exactly
drinking
what I
your
do
little,
every hour of the
when you're
day.
drinking your little tea in the evening, you write down what you need to do, and nice, you know. It sounds good.
But that isn't always achievable. It's not always.
It sounds
Yeah, for
good.
me it works.
But each
It
one,
works.
yeah, you have to find what would
But
work for
we
us,
have to
like you
find
said.
out what works. And the thing is that I read so many different books,
So many
and there are
people
so
do
many different schools of thought. My brain
See?
is just
Yeah.
This is
mixing
my
with
day
all the
right here.
schools of thought.
And look at this. This is tonight, class.
See?
I tell you, I don't
Let me
play
see what time my
around.
class finish.
Look at that. I have 6 to 9, right?
6 to 9, okay, we at 9 o'clock.
Jesus, that's not. I wanted to make
My
it
class at 9
Every
o'clock.
person that I spoke to
I
in
think I
math
cut
is
30 minutes off
this
this
class.
class.
I was so busy.
My class at 6 to 9. And so we're going to go with what is in the
Why don't
class.
you say 6 to 8?
I think the class is
Going
8:30.
to the class that I paid for.
8:30.
No, I got it. 8:30 is fine.
8:30. Nah, 9? If you say 9, 9 is 9.
Yeah, by 9 I'll be home.
So how to become organized? Usually plan. Secondly, prioritize the list, and I think I'm talking about for people next time. Anyway, prioritize the list, and the following day start at number 1 and 2. See, this sounds good, but I'll just read to you what this says. All right. Prioritize. Go down your list 1 to 10. All right. Then start task number 2. Work your way down. Establish which tasks must be undertaken with a limited time scale. decide which tasks can be deferred or delegated to other members of staff, and then seek to manage or eliminate the interruptions. Operate or close their policy at certain times of the day if
I
necessary.
need a door.
I have a closed door policy every minute of the day. I don't keep my door open at all.
What?
It's a major distraction. I get a lot of my work done. Every hour, 1 hour, door always closed. When you come in there, you better know what you come into my office for, because I am too busy. My day is already booked.
Wow.
It's that crazy.
Lord, that's a blessed
Your
situation.
staff from there,
I have a personal marketing
Yeah, me too. I
assistant
can't
who
do
deals
that.
with,
that kind of
who assists
stuff.
me
I got
personally.
you.
I have 7 staff under me. I don't have no door.
And you don't got a door?
The
Put up a sheet or
EVP
something.
No, I have nothing. Nothing.
Oh, you don't get, no, and the thing is, they say open close our policy, but we're moving now to what, era, when nobody get an
Open.
office.
Yeah.
You just get a desk and you
Yeah.
find where you go sit.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
My boss just told me they're gonna move the cubicles.
Well, how you can manage
Oh my
with this new
God.
world? Even up to managers and vice presidents, and stuff.
Yeah.
like you know, Lauren didn't tell me, right?
Every person.
Lauren didn't tell me because I figured where I came from. They tell me I'm gonna be manager of,
Managers and open.
what you call it? Monitoring and testing. That's my title, manager, monitoring and testing. And you know, I figure I go to the bank, I be manager. You know, I figure I get office.
No.
But what little cubicle? But at least I got an L-shaped cubicle. So
That's why I am. That's why I am. My boss
And
just
it's like
told
a
me, he said, we're gonna move these cubicles. The plan is to
Yeah.
move the cubicles. We're gonna put one big long table, and the 7 of my team are gonna be. He said, but you can keep your desk.
Right.
But the rest of them are just gonna be in one big table.
That's kind of, which company is this?
Bahama.
Bahama, I actually.
Every
First
company
County
has
does
a
that. First County does that too.
But now I think in Canada what happens is they have this new floor plan they're working on where you carry a laptop home. When you come to work in the morning, you just sit where you can sit.
Yeah, they do it in Canada.
Yeah, you sit where you sit.
Even big managers,
guess
they don't know where they
managers,
sit when they
yeah.
come.
I
Don't know what you
guess it
say.
depends on what kind of work you
Where you
do.
sit on the,
Because, you know,
no, you can be manager.
You know what?
vice
That's a
president.
good thing. Let me tell you why that's a
like,
good thing in
depends
some
on what area
sense.
you're working. Because, you
That
know,
is
you
so
work in
not a good
fiduciary, corporate and trust, you have
You
all
have so
sorts
much
of files
confidential
stuff you're working on.
Right.
Right.
But see, that's different that you gotta do. But now everything is on a laptop.
Yeah.
So you just come in
Paperless.
and then you look around like, well, I should. Today, you have no office, you have nothing.
That's like us. We're supposed to be. When my boss first interviewed me, the first thing he
Exactly.
said is, have you worked in a paperless environment? First of all, we don't cut checks like that. Very rarely we cut checks.
Right.
Okay? Everything
And
is
it's accounts
wild.
payable.
Okay? And secondly, I have 3 screens. And so
Wow.
when I dealing
I
with
have
processing my invoices through my PO system, I open up the PO which has the invoice attached and then we convert and do that whichever. So if I need to go back to pull up an invoice that we already paid, I have to go to the PO, pull it up and pull up the attachment. I don't have the paper in front of me.
No.
Very rarely I would print the paper unless I'm doing a serious check back and I need that in front of me. If
But
it's
that's the world
long,
we live in. And you know, we have to know as CFPs, we have to now deal with an ever-changing environment
Yes,
with
so-
a new type of customer. You know how hard it was when I at the time with Fidelity, I worked as a teller at the time when they stopped the whole bank books, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
one of
Lord.
them used to come in there, ask for a bank book and thing, and I said, ain't no bank book, and they were lost.
Yeah, yeah.
That's their Bible.
Till they had to bring back the bank book. Because one of them was like, but now,
Until they phase out.
we're going into a system where you want to have these things called, not things, these people called tellers and all that kind of stuff. You just go to a machine and do that kind of stuff. You go to the airport now when you go to customs. That side, when you have a visa, you just slide your thing in and there you go. But that's the way the world is going. And so now as a CFP, you now have to now determine that you better develop an app and let your client have an app, and you.
God.
That's how we
FaceTime and
Yeah, we have
Right.
FaceTime. We can just no meeting, and I can't give no paper to do no budget no more. You know,
Go online and
you go online.
That ain't happening in your area, but definitely
you
happening in
go on my
mine.
website
You have an
and you fill
office.
that out.
What?
For now,
Oh my
But
God.
my insurance agent, I don't see her. My insurance agent still in Freeport. Helena sent me a notification that my policy is about to lapse. I WhatsApp my agent. My agent is right now on vacation in what you call it? Stranded Naked. I don't know if y'all know about that beach party. And she's like, girl, I'm vacation, huh?
go ahead.
She's like, I'm on vacation. Call her the one who actually
Right.
signed me up originally. And I told her, I said, I don't know why, money on my account, I don't know why y'all telling me my policy lap, y'all have a, standing order. And she's like, okay, we'll start over on the card. I have been seeing them in over a year.
Right.
Yeah, so I
And that's where we're going.
And
So-
since I moved to Nassau, I make everything where if I'm too busy, I don't have time to come into you at all.
Right. We like go in. We like
I don't have time.
we like see people's face. We like to go in there and I want my receipt.
Make sure nobody
You know?
steal our
But
money.
now when you go away, they ask you how do you want your receipt? Do you want it printed or
Yeah.
email?
Oh, email.
You know that's where we go in. And so as a CFP, you must always be ready to be a step ahead. All right, so that's where we go in. Report writing. If there's a need to write a report, we don't have to go through this, but pages 6, 7, 8.
Well, now, this is just time consuming reports.
Let's go number
Lord.
8, page 8. Page 8, we're going to telephone techniques. Do people really use telephones still?
Yes, I smile before I answer the phone.
Smile so they can feel it.
Yeah.
Etiquette,
I
yes.
got you.
you're
Where's your
supposed
office,
to.
right here?
No, private up down to Goodman's Bay Corporate Center.
Oh, you up there.
A happy voice.
I got
Yeah, you
Happy
have
voice.
to. You
Yeah.
don't feel it, but you have to smile.
But I have an issue with that. I can tell, I was a PBX operator for like maybe 3 months. So
Wow.
we went through the
Who
training.
PBS? You mean like Channel PBS? The Channel PBS?
PBX.
X.
Or X?
PBX.
Okay.
Operator.
I got
Answering
you.
the phone. And one of the training was smile when you answer the phone. So if I call somewhere and I need business and they pick up the phone, it turns me right. I have an attitude when you answer the phone in a certain way
I know.
because I feel like, hold on, I'm trying to get
You
you
too
business.
happy. You too happy.
And I am always bubbly and happy answering the phone. If you come on the phone,
You must be some attitude all the time. I don't go nowhere with anybody
I'm like-
that's smiling and answering the phone.
and then I'm the kind of person I'm the kind of person that literally will say to you, is there someone else I can speak to?
Right now, I pray
Because I
actually answer the phone.
And I will talk about you when you hang up. When my coworkers gave me someone to call for a car rental company, which is business sales, eh?
Right.
So when I hung up from the lady, I said, you had the same, did she sound dry to you? Because she sounds dry. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she's probably ready to get off, but still.
Yeah, she ready to get home.
It's not, you're still answering the phone.
Give her a little break back.
That's a big thing for you.
That's a
Hello.
big thing.
Hello, what, yeah.
I think to me there's a difference between answering all bubbly and fake
No,
and
Smiling.
answering
yeah,
well,
Smiling.
nice. Yeah, there's a difference.
there is a difference.
So let's look at telephone techniques. Qualities required: empathy, projection, enthusiasm, cheerfulness, imagination, sincerity, patience, business sense, effervescence factor, the smile factor. That's what they call that.
Bring
like
this
you
one on
said.
the list.
Where the next one is.
Energy. Name this one.
This enthusiasm and cheerfulness, I guess that go under
Yeah.
there.
They should say
Energy,
energy.
plenty of
That's
energy.
fake one, that's fake though.
I know if I can, I know, I try. But boy, listen, sometimes you see a number calling and you're like,
No, some numbers
No,
that
sometimes
call
you have to make that decision to whether or not you can answer that.
voicemail. This can go into voicemail.
This will take plenty energy. I can't take this.
Let me just say, this is really sinking a lot of business.
not a good
The mere fact that
I
this
don't
right
like
now, this telephone
I am like
technique
this.
and answering the
I know
phone
this.
right now is costing banks business. Believe it or
Yeah.
not. Literally. Banks
You
are
can't
losing
get
money.
anybody, eh?
What? Because you want to speak to somebody and you're speaking to someone from Trinidad.
I hate that.
But
And they cannot even
no,
understand what you're talking
the
about. They
difference
can't
is
even
though,
understand them.
that's where we
That's
go,
the Bahamian
common-
culture.
cause
I think we have a common with
but
that.
Commonwealth Bank
They're very
now has
nice.
people,
I find
and
it very
from
nice.
America.
Very
Very
nice.
nice.
Commonwealth
must
Bank
say
has
CIFP,
Americans answering for their credit cards.
Wherever y'all customers,
Credit cards.
very helpful.
Yeah.
I've had no problems, but I only bank with CIFP. So I used to be an
They're all
RGC
very
baby,
nice.
but
That is true. But then,
Yeah, they lack vision.
but that isn't a bank issue. The bank issue is that Bahamians are too expensive to hire.
yeah.
But I mean, Family Islands, people would work for less than in the city.
You think so?
I would think so.
That's the
For call service. That's what I'm saying, they could have
Yeah.
looked at outsourcing it to.
But they look at the
Family
bigger
Islands instead
picture
of-
and they say, you know, we already have something in Trinidad, we have some in Barbados.
That is the main
Well, the
reason.
government
That's
should have made it
just-
mandatory, say, kind of incentivize them. to-
Well, the government tried to do that when they closed down some sites in the south.
Mhm.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Well, actually, that was the government who stepped in and say, you're only closing under here. But then you have to realize these big banks could be like, I can shut you all
Yeah,
right
the
now.
banks
Mhm.
dictate to the government.
They could, yeah,
Jesus.
you know.
Government.
But maybe that's a good thing for the Family Islanders to come together and create their own call center and present a proposal. Because
Family Islands
BTC
is a
too.
culture all by itself. You have them with a Bahamian dialect that's over this.
But can we
world.
start locally?
That's-
Can we
that's-
get a call
Yeah.
center for BTC? Because the service is
No, they have a
horrible.
call center, but they're somewhere in the Caribbean too, right?
BTC?
BTC?
Yeah, they do. It's somewhere in the Caribbean. No, it's somewhere not in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, their call center is in the
But
Bahamas.
nobody answers the
I
phone.
thought nobody answers. I thought they shut it down.
Nobody answers the
the
phone. I could call
Yeah,
Cape
right,
Mamas and
right,
Rab
right.
and the
Right,
line
something.
every day.
Something. So that's what we're getting into. All right.
I know that 1,000 number they don't answer. I had to actually go and
916, they don't answer that
I
either.
had to go and do research
Is it a
to actually
916?
get a number.
Yeah, they still,
You gotta know
that's right.
somebody.
That's what we just keep reading.
So let's look at interviewing techniques, and this is what you are.
It's true, I walked in and.
This is what your practical will be about.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what your practical will be about in about 3 weeks.
Our practical?
That's what, like a test?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Each other.
In 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Not a test, just a test.
It's a practical. So you will have a different scenario. You'll have a scenario. I'll give you a scenario next week.
Impromptu.
No, it won't be impromptu.
No.
You got a week to plan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It sounds long. I don't even think I got any of this.
No, you will have a week break, so you have all the time to plan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But that means if you have a week break, this better be good.
Awesome, you see?
Yeah,
On
you understand?
point. Some actors.
So interviewing is a key skill for all managers and supervisors. The use of good interviewing techniques and skills is part of the armory, as a major part of the job is interacting with customers. As the type of interview varies, so do the styles of interviewing. The interviewer's style or pattern of behavior towards the interviewee can vary in the degree of directiveness shown. So directiveness can be assessed by the latitude allowed to the interviewee to take the initiative during the interview. It is also characterized by the kinds of questions that the interviewer asks and the extent to which the interviewee is made to feel the junior partner. Alright? So the two extremes can be described as directive or non-directive. The middle position can be called patterned or planned conversation. Many banking interviews will fall into this planned conversation. So what's a planned conversation? It's midway between you giving them some questions, or you have some questions that you need to ask, but then it's up to you how you're going to direct the questions. They have to be answered, but then it's up to you the kind of approach that you're going to give to the customer. All right? When you go into interviews and they'll be talking about it, you have to know how to do an interview. You can't call people sweetie, and but we have some, you go into business places and they'll be like, sweetie, come here, that kind of thing, that one. Yeah, that's a kosher. All right? So it's the kind of energy that your business wants to give off, that you have to be a junior partner in how you will interview customers. So you have to determine if you're going to be direct or you're going to be indirect. So the two part, like we said, the two extremes can be described as directive and non-directive. A good technique should help you to use your time and that of your customer more effectively. You only have an hour to deal with a customer. Hopefully, probably. Sometimes customers go to banks and they're there for 2 hours, 3 hours, trying to find out one. Because my thing is, if you do this every day, you fill out the same form every day, why do you have to take 3 hours? Like when people go on Kentucky Line, and I always have an issue that it's only chicken.
I know.
Like spicy or original. What you getting? I mean, why you have to be so long? I try to figure out why tellers have to be so long. It's only money. You do it
Depends on how much transaction they're allowing you to do it.
Yeah, but it's still only money.
Yeah, but it's Scotiabank on Monday. Man, I was in there for an hour on that.
What Scotiabank is this?
Cable Beach.
Cable Beach? We get that fixed. You should have gone and just tell Lorraine. I sure you would have been in and out.
In and out.
I don't know.
There's
See,
a
I
good
have
call, but
problem
in
with that.
and out in 10 minutes. The guy
Banking-
was like, I just got a couple of I was in and out in 10
See,
minutes. And I
that's
was
their
like,
culture.
1 hour.
Yeah. Commonwealth is quick.
Banking really isn't what it was when I came in as a teller. When I came as a teller, I loved to come to work. We had competitions across the line. How many persons you could serve at the end of the day? You know, you're not getting any type of incentive as far as cash reward, but you know at the end of the day, hey,
You have bragging rights.
I got bragging rights, but it's no longer that way.
See, the thing is too that, what you call it now? When I was a teller at a certain bank, I won't call that name. But Fidelity, right? They used to, there was only people on the lineup.
Exactly.
But you know, you was a teller. You was a teller right there when I was at
No one wants to make eye contact.
yeah. There was only me one on the lineup. You had to make eye contact because only you. Like literally, you're the only teller on the whole. So you had to serve 3 people one time.
Exactly.
I mean, that made it easier. You do 3 people one time. A lot help if the system down because you got to
The
explain
question is
it.
now, who they have competition with?
That's true.
Nobody. You
But the
just
fun
get
part
one
about it
minute.
is
That's true.
getting them in and out.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be looking at my face because then see at a certain branch where I was at, the hall was very like a cavern, so you had a lot of echo. So that's only
They listen to you.
They were like, he knew it. That's it.
That's true. We do say that.
They're like, he knew it. They knew it. They just got it. You know?
He treated it.
They
He treated it.
And so afterwards you realize that you have in the system, so you now doing this look like this could be a simple transaction. If you get 5 transactions, here. And this back when we had forms. Take a slide right here, fill out your 5 forms. And you get yours, and then you just, it's just a technique. But matter of fact, back then, you couldn't even sit down. They took the chairs away. So,
I think that's just so terrible.
if you sit down, what's terrible?
Terrible.
What's terrible?
People tell us not being able to sit down.
No, don't sit down.
That's unreasonable.
I couldn't be,
I
Lauren,
have a
you
issue
tell us
with
to sit down? Yeah, they sit down.
I think that's
You have to provide them with a chair.
Yeah, you have to provide them with a chair, but don't sit down.
But
See,
I agree with you.
that's true. But
My
an
thing is-
efficient teller
but see,
does not
I
sit
couldn't,
down.
listen, I couldn't be a telesupervisor, because why you sitting down? And there's a certain bank, I
That's
ain't
how I
calling no name,
was. I'm like that.
right? Because you know, we
I
have
ain't calling no
camera,
name.
but a certain bank, right? I ain't calling no name. Like this, literally do this. They come in, they watch you, you say, and they don't care.
No.
They don't care how much you, and you stand them down there. And they can roll their chair up, and they can sit there and serve that
Yeah, they
customer.
do
Like you
something.
see a line,
Yeah.
but you're sitting down.
Yeah.
Now I'm not trying to be inhumane, but sit down when the line go down.
Let me tell you something. I've
No, I
had
agree with
2.
that.
No, I agree with
I've
that
worked
too.
in the casino. My first experience as a player, my first experience Players Club. When I came out of college, I got into the casino for what, and you had to stand and serve your customer. There were no chairs in that cage, and the cage with the money, there's
Right.
no chairs in there. Only the
Right.
main bank had a chair. But you stood up to serve your customer. If the posture and the way you're greeting and you're serving your customer is totally different, and the enthusiasm is totally different when you're standing with that kind of, it's different from if I have a customer in front of me and we're talking business and we're going over paperwork and, you're getting more intimate, but it's different. Because besides from that, my mom's shop, cash in. When they had a police officer told me to bring some stools for them because I refused to. Why I wouldn't allow them to stand? I said because the service would be different.
I guess.
Sure enough,
the alerts-
when I brought those in, the service is different. They're sitting down, louching, pulling out the drawer, lounging.
And it's just called me. When I see them come and they come in to sit down.
And not just that. If you're sitting down and there's no one you're serving, the minute your customer walks in,
You're supposed to
you're
get-
supposed to stand.
But you don't see that.
But I guess if you stand,
You want them to
have
get
to be
a
allergic.
chair.
You can talk
So if
over
you
this.
stand in your line and you sit in the
See,
line,
but
it
you
don't
have
bother
to
you.
understand, I think I look at it a lot deeper, maybe too deep. Because I think when you have to force someone to
If you
perform
hurt, stand up, 8 hours.
like that,
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I have a problem
All
with
day,
that.
that's the issue.
I have a problem with that.
No,
in a
that's why
big
you
way.
agree.
I think you
In a
provide
big
them
way.
with a chair,
You know,
however.
you provide them with a chair.
Chair.
People know when they want to sit down and they know when they want to stand up. But to not give a person a chair that's working 8 hours just to focus
No,
on customers,
see,
I got a problem with
No, the
that.
difference is,
No,
you
yeah.
give them a
I have a problem with
chair,
that.
but you don't sit down to save your customer.
Exactly. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
No way.
You supposed to serve you, that's your
I
customer.
disagree with that.
Oh, I can be a town supervisor.
No,
Because
I don't
we-
get that.
we're gonna run
I
out
don't know.
regimen there.
After you've been standing on that line for an hour, you feel different.
Yeah.
How long you stand in the line?
Well, I mean, I've been dealing with Finco Bank forever until, they merged Finco with RBC.
Yeah, RBC has the culture of sitting
And,
down,
yeah.
Finco, yeah. Commonwealth Bank, I've never
you don't be
experienced
online
anybody
long?
sitting down.
I
With
know I could be-
RBC,
I could
the
be online
service is
on
just
RBC
plain
for
terrible. No, let's
an
just get
hour.
real here. With RBC, the service is really, really just
It's
terrible.
bad, yeah.
With Finco, I love Finco. You couldn't say nothing bad with Finco Bank around me because I'm ready to check you. Right? I love Finco.
That's a loyal customer.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Finco
Share mine
customers,
is 0.0.
Finco mortgage customers love Finco. They did. And when they transitioned over, it was very traumatizing.
Culture shock.
It was walk right through us. Because you're like, what is this? People don't even say hi. The tellers don't have the relationship. They even don't look at you. They don't look at
Yeah,
you.
RBC is.
And Finco, they know you. Hi, Miss Williams.
But
You
that's
know?
what they teaching them though.
And it go, let me tell you,
Yeah,
it's twofold. It
They
goes
keep
back,
me-
I've done a lot with customer service, like I say, I've.
I think when you don't have
But-
someone sitting down, you're forcing them to do something they really don't want to do. If you have to pull away a chair, move a chair to get someone to
That's what I was
really,
gonna
really
say.
deal with customer service, they shouldn't be there.
It's twofold.
That's the spin I see on
the
it.
energy that particular employee has and the
Yeah.
passion they has in what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's one. And two, the coaching and the morale and all of that. It has a combination
I think
from
it goes with
management. It marries
Yeah.
itself. Because if I might have come into this job, did I just come into because I need a job as a paycheck, or is this a passion of mine? This is something I
I
love.
really love.
I love
working
customer
here.
service. I
Yeah.
love greeting people, so forth like that. It's a combination of that along with. Yes, I have this chair that's provided to me, but because I love what I do, I love my customers, I love greeting them. Every time a customer comes to me, I'm going to stand. When I have the opportunity to sit, I'm going to sit.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. Not every. If I'm sitting down, one person walks in, I'm gonna sit there and say, "How you doing?" Serve them. But I'm gonna stand up and sit down, stand up, sit down. Now, if I'm
Yeah.
sitting down and I'm serving someone, and then two people walk in mine, I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
definitely gotta
you
increase my
gotta tell them.
performance.
Yeah,
I'll
you
stand
go,
up then.
right.
But
But
I can give you a good greeting
Dina,
sitting down
here's the thing.
personally.
One of my
High
former
school ones,
agents,
you don't- you know,
one of my former
high
agents
school
worked at
ones.
John Bull.
Yeah, I'll sit up and.
She worked at John Bull downtown where they make them stand up. This girl, young girl, have huge varicose veins. For working for John Bull for years, just standing up for 8 hours and sometimes even longer, without an opportunity to sit down. To the point where her husband tell her quit the job. I need her feet used to swell up. It's ridiculous.
Wrong
I think
job.
that's-
No, exactly.
that's
She
so
needed
wrong.
she needed to make a decision that,
Wrong
hey,
job.
this is what
She
the
needed a
job
job, but the
calls
damage
for.
was already done. The
Yeah.
varicose veins is like. When she showed me those varicose, I couldn't believe it. I said, "How you get that?" She said, "John Bull."
What would you have done if I was teaching a class in now?
Say it again.
What would you have done if I was teaching a class in now?
It don't matter to me.
But see, the difference is,
Whatever's comfortable.
I had a teacher at not CIFP.
You-
COB.
But this for 2 hours, it ain't 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
used to
that's
teach
the
8
difference.
hours. Not 8 hours. Listen, feel like 8 hours. And Lord help when she bring, like, if because we used to market at about an hour and a half in, her throat just started getting dry. So she would have to stop. But if you see her bring a bottle of water in the class,
That's it. All day.
no, you're there for the whole 3 hours.
Like, because what you do, you sitting there, your energy up though. Like, I don't feel a way about
Right.
you sitting down.
I don't
teaching
care.
like that.
Even if I'm
No, but if I'm sitting down, you will see my energy drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I need this. I need.
But when you sit down, you're more interactive.
No, I hear what he's saying.
When you sit down, it's
That's
like,
not
you have a
No,
more
when,
interactive relationship.
when I'm interacting, I can be all of it. I can be on
Yeah.
here. So you know, you can't fall asleep because I promise you, you fall asleep, I can pick up.
It's the presentation and for the
Right.
sample.
Because and it all depends on but that's how it is. So you use your time and that of your customer more effectively.
Yeah.
So the next thing is you increase the customer's confidence in your abilities when you prepare properly. When you come into your office, prepare it. Every time you need something, you gotta get up and go get this people. Every time you get up, you can't find your pen. You gotta be, Lord, let my pen gone.
So I can't have nobody in my office. I know where everything is. Don't
And let me tell you
go
something,
there.
that's the impression you
touch
get, if I come to
anything.
you too, and I say to myself, like how you all say, my finance in order, as a CFP, my finance should be in order if I'm trying to sell.
Yeah.
If I come into your office and I see that you're just all about like how you all over the place, I feel like you're not prepared.
Right, you be like,
Listen,
you're not-
there are some
yeah, you be all over the place, you can tell me the wrong
What is
I'm
it?
thing.
talking
Let me borrow your
lawyers and
pen.
big time directors.
Yeah.
You walk in the office, you be like, no.
I
way
know.
Am I talking to you?
Yo, I've been in some lawyer's office and I'm like, this
And
is a
some
fire
government,
hazard.
the head of government agencies, you walk in their office and you wonder, where do you sit? What is this?
and as a CFP,
I'm out of here.
as a CFP, you sell yourself.
How do you?
People look down to, and I know this sounds superficial, but this is our culture. They look down to your chipped nails. They look down. They look down to how you dress. They look down to your car. They look at everything.
They size you right
and they
up.
size you right up
Yeah.
because looks
yeah.
sell.
That's true.
As a CFP,
They're looking at my underfit?
yeah, they look at you. They say even if you get a hundred, make sure you're 100 fit clean.
You're going to SD.
Cause they go from the window, seeing you pull up.
I learned something from the
Exactly.
human, my
Oh
best
my
friend's
God.
mom is the HR
No, looks
director
good.
Change my
of
car.
Hutchison Wamport in Freeport,
Right.
chain of port, airport company. And I remember her saying before that even though you're working in human resources and you might not be interacting with people outside, you're interacting with the employees. But know that you are always on performance.
Right.
When you are at work, that you're always on performance. When you go home, if you want to talk with your boss, if you want to talk with an employee, or whatever you do, if you want to do in your bedroom slippers or whatever, fine. But the minute you are at work or you're representing,
You stuck with your house.
you have to be on performance. Not that you must be fake, but just know
Right.
that.
But there's a certain, and the thing is, when you fix yourself up, you perform better. It's a psychological
It's
thing.
psychological.
When you're here
I
just
agree with
done, you're here just done.
21 years in this
Don't stop
industry.
me. You're ready.
And I wouldn't go to work without a panty heels on from Monday to Thursday. Literally. Agents in my company, they don't even wear panty heels.
Nobody else is a
I don't
thing
feel
now.
dressed. No, I'm just speaking with me. Come on, I'm just speaking because it's
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
I know when I'm ready to work, when I put my panty heels on. I'm ready for business.
She's ready to take over. So when that panty goes on,
Panty heels on.
she got this. My thing is, you catch me in the right place at the right day.
But that's our culture.
It's us.
That's our culture.
It's us.
Because when you look at people like Bill Gates and them and those such, they
That's us.
clean and they
Our culture, we love to dress up.
Yeah.
We watched the
Never feel dressed.
changing of the governor general.
That's from Britain.
Everybody wear.
Yeah,
You don't think that's changing a little bit though?
That's a British
That's
thing.
changing a little.
Yeah, we're
It's changing.
something.
Yeah,
Somebody need to release.
even back in church. There was church used to be dressed. Nobody
A lot of my customers, things like,
They walk
them
out.
person up the street.
Yeah, you never know that they have money. Yeah.
Millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, they get to that place because they had to come to that. See, the thing is that, but they have an expectation of you. They don't care how they come in their dress.
They size
You
you
work
up.
for them.
Exactly.
So when they come in here, you ain't
You
getting
giving
it.
advice and you ain't put together. Child, this person can't talk to me.
If anything off in that office, as soon as they walk in, you apologize.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
you apologize for it being out of place.
Exactly. That, but that's
You
their
provide an
culture.
explanation.
You see that? You see that pens? I was watching this from my reach. I will go down there just to get a pen.
You better bring some pants back.
I was watching that pen from my reach because I like pens. And your pen wasn't. No, your pen.
Excuse me.
Your pen
This
ain't
pen
me.
costs $2.
Mm.
But by the time you write, you just begin writing with this, you want a case of these.
Oh yeah?
I've had the
She should
expensive
sell a
pens.
pen.
I don't play around. I
should-
know what expensive pens. But this makes me write and want to keep on writing.
Let me try this.
See, I didn't sell him the pen. Even though he just gets on the pen. He just gets on the pen.
You should have been here earlier when I was trying to get somebody to sell me a pen.
That's all right. I can sell you my pen.
But the thing is that you have to understand, you sell yourself.
Yes.
Okay? You sell yourself. You must make a good technique should help you to make the customer more receptive and less confrontational. And then you sell yourself a good technique. The customer should help you be more objective in analyzing information obtained from an interview. Your interview is a structured and a controlled dialogue with a definitive or definite objective. That's what an interview is. It's a structured and controlled dialogue. What does that mean? It means then my interview has 10 questions. My interview is controlled, meaning that as the interviewee or the interviewer, I know what I want to get out of you by the time I finish these 10 questions. And I control how far this conversation goes. So if you start running on, I know how to bring that right in. If you don't give me enough information, I know how to probe to get more information. But I have the control over this because there's an objective at the end of the day. I want to know more about you as a client. Sometimes you may take several interviews before you get to the place of selling your client. Because when you first start, you need to know about their family. How many children in the house? Why would you need to know how many children in the house? Because you need to know if you sell them an education fund. You need to know you have an older parent. Did you consider life insurance? Because you know your parent may not be here forever, and you will ensure that they have a good burial and da da da. You become, but you only know this if you have the right interview skills. Your interview is so important that your interview ought to be able to track your client 20, 30 years down the road. Okay? And so you don't want to leave any stone unturned. The climate of the interview is affected by the behavior of the individuals involved, and in turn, it influences the task activity. Interviewing is part of the general process of communication with customers and the gathering of necessary and relative information. In effect, each time you interview a customer, you're almost making a presentation on the bank's behalf, or your person, or your hotel's behalf, or your personal business's behalf. Every time you do an interview, you are selling, like you said, you're selling yourself over and over and over again. You must bear in mind that unplanned interviews are usually extremely unreliable in generating data and information. If someone just walks in on you, it's good to have a script. Because even if somebody walks in on you, it's good to have a script so that you will know that every time they come in or anytime someone comes in unplanned, this is the information that you need to get from them. Because if someone just pops in on you and you have nothing planned, you won't ask the necessary information. And nothing gets a client upset more than a person who asks a callback again for information you should have gotten the first time. Don't you get annoyed when your bank keeps calling you back for updated information? When they keep calling you back because you need to bring in who did I have an experience
It's
with?
freeze your account, Scotiabank freezing people account. I don't know where they get that foolishness from.
Pardon? I don't know why you keep calling Scotiabank. Scotiabank is right when it's freeze people account.
Globally now.
Lauren,
Everything is out of
they blame us.
Needs this.
I don't know why they call compliance a lot.
Just to get me to come into the bank. What a time.
Yeah, because you're supposed to update that a long time.
What a
And you ain't
time.
come. So we need you to come, and we know you touch people's money, they come in. Whether they come to row or they come to fix it, they come in.
Let them don't have access to
They
their
come
money,
in.
they come in.
They come in. They come in, right? So an effective interviewer needs to apply social and communication skills and complete all the following elements. 1, you must prepare well for the interview. 2, you must determine the most effective sequence for the topics that you need to cover. So you shouldn't be back and forth and all around the world. You should have a strategic flow to your questioning. Your one question should lead to the next, and you should see something building, something progressing. And so this is what I'll be listening for when you do your interviews in 3 weeks. I want to see your interview progressing. So when you first come in, you don't know your customer when they come in to you. Well, it all depends on the scenario, because this may be a recurring customer. So, based on your interview, that's how you will frame it. But sometimes you have a brand new customer, you don't know them from the man on the moon, so you have to get to know them, you know, and get to know what they're about. You prepare well for the interview. Determine the most effective sequence for the topics. Use good questioning skills. Sometimes you have closed questions, sometimes you have open-ended questions. Some questions you don't need a yes or no answer. Some questions you need to probe. Sometimes your customer will give you a short answer and you need to probe to get more information. All right? Concentrate and apply good listening and watching skills. Why? Because just because you have a long list of questions to answer don't mean that you just keep your head down and tick answer, because then you can tell if your customer lying. Because see, sometimes when you see your customers are twitching, they're lying, right? You have any more accounts at this? Do you have any more loans anywhere else? Put them in their face.
That's right.
Because they can start twitching, they can start, so you have to be able to read non-verbal language cues, body language. You need to know that sometimes they say, like, Trump always got his arm full. When your arm full, you kind of keeping a block between you and that person, so you don't want them to know no more anymore. You know, that kind of thing. Sometimes you may be asking questions that may be invasive, and your customer don't give you all this information, but you ain't picking up the signal because you ain't looking. And your customer may be turned off. They walk out the door, especially with trust clients. Sometimes they don't tell you all their business.
That's true.
But you keep probing and probing and probing instead of saying we'll get to that another time. Sometimes I gotta give you a glass of wine to kind of relax you, to get it. You know, because you love
a glass of wine.
Social.
I sure did. Let's give a glass of wine. Not us. Probably for Caribbean, but not
You mean private
bank.
banking?
Private banking.
Yeah, private banking. They get a little glass of wine, some little Ferrero Rocher, and they get you. They smooth you off.
Get treated well.
You know.
All your money.
Exactly. They smooth you off, but you have to know how to work it. You have to know. Sometimes you may have to meet your client on a golf course, on a home. You may have to meet them Starbucks. So you have to be able to be fluid.
Yeah.
Sometimes as CFP you can. Okay, let me make sure I say this right. There are some things that you thought, like you may not be a bar person, but sometimes you gotta meet them in a bar, because that's where they are.
Wow.
Drink your ginger ale and sit at the bar.
Yeah, because someone like me, I don't drink. But if I need to meet a client and they drinking, give me a glass of white wine and you sip it. I don't drink.
Sip, child.
But
I get bust right out.
But you
Pizza.
can't.
You be talking more than them.
You understand?
I start getting loud. I get freaking happy. Turn the music up. Let's go dance.
You gotta play off the customer.
But you have to know you.
But you want to have the control.
Yeah.
Your interview is controlled, because you will end up, you'll go home and you realize your paper blank. You but you had a good time. Right?
But yeah, that goes to any interview.
I ain't going to no bar. I'm not going to no bar.
So what you're saying is similar. You know, I have to ask certain questions. I know what kind of employee I need for my team. I have to ask certain questions in certain ways to find out, do you know about it? For example, I had a person who applied for a position I had open that came out of the bank. She wanted to come out of working in the bank into AP, and I think she just wanted to come into Bahama, maybe, I don't know. One of the questions I asked was, what is her career goal? What's her plan? What's her path? Her future is to be in human resources. Okay, we have a human resources department. Why are you applying for finance?
That's right.
You know, to me, that was an X right away.
Foot in the door.
Exactly.
You should have foot in the door.
I know,
All you do is answer that the appropriate
she did
way.
not answer. You know, that's a for me. I'm passionate about
I would have
finance.
never said that.
You know, you don't say that on an interview if you want to get your foot in the
I
door.
really want to get a job, but since y'all have opening.
Yeah, there's never
To me,
any openings for
let me tell you
job
something.
position.
I literally, my
Yeah,
interview,
yeah.
and I always tell people when you're
You don't know you
interviewing,
get swing.
and you have to know, because people, you have to know, you could be looking at a resume and it look nice, but those questions that you're asking
And that is
will
what it is.
determine if they really know what they're saying. And so, to me, when she answered that, that literally shut the interview for me. That was it. I could have basically been, I prolonged it for a couple more minutes, but I already made up my mind, this is not somebody I want on my team, because I need.
You figure she was more deceitful, like more deceitful or something? That was like a.
I just,
She would
I will
be
come
happy
here.
there, so
She
she
won't
won't
be
be
happy
happy
there.
that
No.
time. Yeah, so she won't be
I will
happy.
come here to be
So-
a child.
So that's, no. So that shut down. To me, if I have an interview, if I'm interviewing you and your interview is less than 10 minutes, no,
But see,
that's
it
it.
depends on the type of interview, you know, it's kind of tricky. Because I deal with interviews like literally
Say
3,
10
4, 5
minutes?
times a day.
If you go that last that
But it's
long,
not job interview, you know.
My
where
interviews
we're
are scheduled for 30
interviewing to
minutes.
determine, you know, the
15,
type of
30
plan, the
minutes.
amount
How
of
much,
coverage.
how much money you
A
want to take
whole
with me?
ton
That's
of
what you
stuff.
should
No,
know.
seriously,
You're not allowed
what is
to
the
be together.
budget, you know? I need to know, do you know where you are financially? There's a lot of stuff I get into in an hour and I can cover in an hour. But it's never really for a job interview, so I think that's like a different kind of, what
Yeah.
this
But
what kind of interview exactly?
this is for,
I know, yes, I get
You're not
it.
sure?
no, but the reason why I mention that is it goes back to asking the right questions
Right.
to
Yeah.
get the information out of it. And that's why I use that as a,
Right.
example, for me, you know.
So the next thing is interviewing techniques questionnaire. So this, you have to answer these yourselves to know how you assess yourself. How well do you make time to plan for interviews? How well do you brief yourself before the interview? How well do you set yourself clear objectives to be interviewed from interviews, to be achieved from interviews? How well do you specify the topics to be covered? How well do you plan the assessment criteria? How well do you organize a suitable and sympathetic space in which to carry out your interviews? How well do you, because you don't have an interview where it's so loud and so noisy, people always walking past and that kind of stuff, you always get distracted, somebody always come to the door, knock on the door and interrupt you. You don't want that kind of thing, all right? How well do you ask questions? Because sometimes it isn't getting answered. If you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. And you have to know what are the right questions to ask. So all of these will be kind of, what you call the word? Writing you on. I'm critiquing you. So sometimes, and we didn't do this in last class, but chance for the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's 6 of us in here, 10 minutes a question, 10 minutes interview, that's an hour. The next hour, half hour we could use to kind of, we'll give everybody 15 minutes, 10 minutes for your thing, 5 minutes we'll critique you, say what you could ask, what you think you kind of missed out, that kind of stuff. So we'll all learn together. We good? All right. How well do you avoid interruptions from the phone when interviewing? How well do you prevent interruptions from colleagues when interviewing? Because you don't want to have an interview, then you got to stop to answer your phone, you got to stop to take a text, you want to start, no, you don't want that. How well do you obtain the information you want from interviews, and how well do you make sure that you have the time to reflect on your interviews and write up the meeting notes? So after your interview, you have to have time to go over your interview notes, to write copious notes, be able to have something that you can share with somebody who wasn't in the interview, or sometimes you need to rationalize why this person is the best person for the job. All right? Preparing and planning. 1, provide the right environment. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. Think of the customer's reactions and coming to see you, how anxious they may be. You may have to sometimes think about the customer may be kind of ashamed to come to you as a CFP because their finances are all in a mess. And nothing makes a customer feel better than when their finances are all in a mess, and at the end of the day, you show them, hey, listen, this is where you are, this is where we can get you. You know, that gives the customer confidence again, okay? So the interview should not be intimidating, okay? Your customer already knows they're in a mess. You don't need to remind them that they're in a financial mess. You don't need to be asking about how you manage that. You don't need to be asking,
What were you doing?
like, what you doing?
What you been doing with your money?
You use your money to buy what? You shouldn't be, like, you've been working for 30 years and you ain't get nothing.
That's a lot.
You've been working for 30 years and you still didn't get your house.
House car?
People had life happens. And in your interviewing, when you find out about them, you realize life happened. They went through divorce. They went through hard times. They couldn't get a job. Their baby was sick. Their people clean them up. You know, that kind of thing. So you don't, when you come in, don't come in judging them. they come as a clean slate. And make sure now, you can ask questions, make sure that you yourself don't have any non-verbal cues that you're giving them. Like, don't, like you squint your eye, because you will meet different people with different backgrounds. And sometimes you see people dress up. I ain't got a time to that. But you gotta treat everybody the same.
What a time.
Because sometimes the people who aren't dressed like it are the ones who got it, and they can be the same one you kicked out the door.
That's right.
Alright? So you have to treat every customer correctly, alright? Given the particular interview situation, consider the customer's perception of a physical barrier, such as a desk or table between you. Sometimes your customer don't want to be this far from you. Sometimes you must sit behind your big desk, for those of us who have a desk, an office, big desk, and your customer way over there, and they don't feel connected. Sometimes, and a lot of these big offices have your big desk, but then you got this little small round table with two, you all know that kind of table.
Yeah, that's the executives.
The little
That's
dinette,
our
the little dinette. Go sit by the dinette and talk cross that, because when you have that kind of intimate conversation, they're more relaxed. Alright, tell them to kick off your shoes and be comfortable. Bring some tea. Give them what kind of tea you want. You want some ginger, Earl Grey? You want some herbal tea? You want some espresso? Espresso. You want tea or you want water? Which one you want?
You want to collect?
You want to collect what you want? You want some wine? What you want? You need to get a little smoke. What you want? What you need? See, when you work in private banking, you realize that they have sometimes they may say, man, I talk better outside on the golf course.
Wow.
Sometimes I need to meet 6 o'clock in the morning. Matter of fact, meet me to the airport because I gotta run. But I need you to, and you can't say I don't wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. You better meet them there 6 o'clock in the morning.
Trust me.
What's right?
Sometimes they may say jump on the plane, let's go to Miami, and then I fly you right back.
These are always in town.
Within regulation.
And look here.
Within regulation.
And look here.
See? Passport always on her.
My passport
she never
is
know.
always with me.
See, she never know.
Always.
She never know when she gotta go to the airport. She
Never know. I always say, I don't know who. Like, I mean, me.
Oh.
You might say, let's go.
You would know.
It's shocking to me.
She gotta say, let's go.
But I ain't like, honestly, for 9/11, when I was in school in 9/11, I was in school in Charleston, South Carolina, with the Air Force bases. And after I saw a jet flying, I didn't know what was going on.
Her passport said probably in a sock straw. She
What?
her passport
I don't move.
Her passport
Unless I traveling.
Her
Always.
passport tongue.
Ready
When
to
it
go.
comes out, when I
You have to travel.
But you never know. And home too far, and I may miss the airport.
And traffic is crazy.
I remember I got to go.
Crazy.
Because you have a private client, they got the jet. I can't talk now, but I'm on my way to Miami. I can let the jet fly you back, but I gotta go. Let's talk.
And see when you get back, buddy.
Or you lose me.
Not with money, child. Not with money.
And she get the client.
Not with money.
She got a passport.
I get some money, but I don't plan to go.
See? See? Stay in insurance.
I better.
Look here, I will leave no suitcase or anything like that. My ATM card, my credit card always on me. Nice.
Time.
See, Quentin, you
Matter of fact, I do have a suitcase in the back
I don't get me wrong, I going.
Quentin could jump on
You don't need it. You can buy that suitcase if you need to when you over there.
You need a
But I
suitcase.
don't want for that though. I don't know.
That's kind of crazy.
Pardon?
I don't know. It depends on the relationship.
No, but the thing is not even relationships. Sometimes you have clients who have these exorbitant demands.
I mean, I understand.
When you go to private client, it all depends on your. Jump on the.
It depends on the relationship. I
You
guess.
jump on a plane because class I can't talk. I don't have an
Yeah,
hour
this
to
is a
talk.
relationship I build with someone and they say, oh, let's go. Yeah, go.
But you may not build a relationship. This is your portfolio. Your boss give you a portfolio. This is your
That's your
client.
client.
Well, that's a relationship. At least someone I know. I mean, I'm talking about comfort level there.
You gotta have a couple of
It's business.
You wait for the customer. Here is your portfolio.
That's what I mean.
That's what lawyers do.
What I'm saying is
lawyers
this
have
is
to move like that.
a portfolio is
Right.
a
They
list of
gotta
trusted
go.
people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm saying if this is a completely new client, that's what I'm talking about.
No,
Someone.
but you may
If
have a
it's
new
a
client.
potential
Every
billionaire
background
or
check.
millionaire,
you gotta
This
go.
may be a potential billionaire.
You gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm going to go do something
If it's a
crazy.
billionaire, if you put it like that.
You can know somebody on your life and they can do something crazy for you. You understand that?
No, but I mean,
Big millionaire, billionaire, but I can't be that
All right, ready to
I
go.
be comfortable.
Yeah, Yeah, but that's
I'd be looking around
Much
like,
KYC, you know,
Right,
they
but
can sign
you're
up
trying
on
to
the
do
first
it.
before
You're
you
in private
come.
Well, but I gotta know that I can get that sale, cause some
So
of
in
these
private
fellas are
banking, and that's why
really
you have, when you know where you're working, you also know your clients, you know your company's risk appetite, you know all these stuff, okay?
It's crazy.
Okay, he says, how friendly and open are the seating arrangements?
But
and
you don't think
positioning?
some of that is a little desperation though? I mean, doesn't that come across as being a little desperate sometimes?
That's your business.
That's sales.
No. See, what I learned in this business is that you know, you can't pressure the client like
That's
that.
not pressure, he's
No.
telling you to come.
No, your client has, I ain't got time,
Cynical.
I don't have time to come to meet you by your office. Right now, I need to make a meeting tonight in Boca Raton. My jet is on the tarmac. I'm on my way to the airport. I need you to sign
And
these
and he said he have the check?
Yeah,
Oh, you have the
I
check
need
out
you to
now?
sign these
You have the-
documents, but I sign them in the plane. You gotta catch me.
What a time.
My passport.
So y'all are
and visa,
watching, y'all
all
are watching it like
always
billions, and
current.
y'all are watching things like that on Netflix.
seriously.
Because people have some outrageous,
Yeah.
you know.
Especially
Yeah, the lifestyle
very,
of it.
They may say, hey, I have a key in Exuma, jump on the boat, let's go, we gotta go. Sometimes you have persons who are in the private banking sector who they are in charge of all these people's relationships. So you may have a client who's building a condo kind of thing on a key, and you have to go there to make sure that everything is going according to plan. So it all depends on what you. It all depends on what you do with your CFP license. Okay, because the CFP in a commercial bank is different than a CFP in a private bank.
Right.
Demands are different, pay is different, you know, that kind of stuff. All right. So look at the lighting. Can you make the lighting more warm and welcoming? Have you arranged for tea or coffee in your office? Do you have little mints or candy on your desk? Do your people have do you have a drinking problem? If they have a drinking problem, you won't be offering them wine. So that's why you have to know your client.
Wow. And you keep saying know your client and talking about all these high-end things. My same job at the casino in Freeport, where I was promoted from I'm one attendant, which is with Place Club, into VIP coordinator. I dealt with the junkets, the VIPs that came in on the junkets or their private planes. And one of the things the hostess and myself had to do was prepare the room for certain clients, certain VIPs. So you had to know what their likes were.
Right.
I remember having to go around looking for Cuban cigars, getting certain kind of bottles of wine, just having to set the room up. Finding out that he was also bringing his girlfriend along with his baby. So setting things up and having that room ready for him.
And that's your job.
See, that
Do
was
you know
my
there
job.
are people in Atlanta who work at the Cove? If I feel like eating, give me some away. Give me some away. Escargot. You know they have to fly that in from Paris.
Certain things.
Sometimes they gotta fly over. They gotta go jump in the Atlanta's jet, jump on, go fly to get the people escargot from Paris and bring it back before tonight. Because I only eat Parisian snails. I don't eat snails from America. I only eat snails from Paris, and that's what you have to do. But you know this when you sign up. So don't sign up for what you may know. Sometimes you have job descriptions that say travel often.
And then you have to be flexible because you also have to know, because there's certain times where I was supposed to get off at 5, but I still here till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sometimes
If he on a roll,
Exactly.
if he on a roll and he needs me there or she needs me there and they gamble and
When I run my own
they
business, I work for somebody.
No,
not just that, because you also getting the pay and you also, and don't worry, a lot of times you get paid that and also you get other perks along with that.
Sometimes you have to serve an hour and they don't want you in your pants.
And then sometimes you might not have any vendors, any VIPs for a month that'll ask those demands on you. But when you have that
when you
one,
get that one person, and they're sticklers, and this is how they want it, this is how they like it.
If I know I close on a sale, I gotta have a certain guarantees in place here, because trust me, Time is money for me. I cannot put all my time and energy in you, and I am not sure I closing that sale.
Yeah, but that's you.
That's a
I
risk you
say,
take.
but I could
Yeah,
change.
yeah,
I could
so they
change
Rest,
my
I
mind.
said, mm-mm.
That's the
I could
risk.
change your mind. You could.
That's the
put on
problem. That's why I
No, the thing
can't
is, I may
go
not
bending
thank you,
backwards like that.
but because I gave you such excellent
Yeah, but
service,
how many
you may
people-
refer.
How many people
Exactly.
How many people ever been on one of them tours to on
Timeshare?
timeshare?
Mm-hmm.
I know I ain't buying that. But I know you give me 2 tickets or something.
Like
5. I walk around with you all day.
That whole day we both.
The whole day. And you sitting down and they say, oh man, I lost your thing. I don't know. Like me and my wife, we did it. And she's like, oh man, I don't know where your thing is. No, we said, we'll wait. We want our tickets. We ain't buying that. We wanted to keep promise us. And after we realized we weren't going to buy, they wanted to try and say, oh, we ain't got this. No, we ain't got, I got sit down. I went 2 concert tickets. I went 2 dinner tickets.
Because you took my time.
Because you take my time. I didn't promise I was buying nothing.
Oh my
But you
God.
promised me to give me these things. See, customers already know I ain't coming here to
Oh my
buy.
God. So you
But then out of the 10 people,
That's
out
part
of
of the business though. They know someone's gonna buy it. So
That's
That's
what I'm
about the
saying.
expenses.
That's sales in
Just the
general.
expenses. They know out of the 10 people they ask, only 3 people buying it.
Yeah. It's a business. It's sales.
So give me what you got for me.
Let me go.
And let me go, because I gotta catch the show tonight. That you give me the tickets for.
I don't know what I wearing. So
I know this plan. You tell me first it's $10,000. Then you break it down and say, oh my boss give me $5,000. Then you come down and say it's only $199 if you. I know y'all trying to jip me, so I can't jip you all.
my mommy said you're fine ass.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah, but that's what it is. But this is the kind of business you're in. This is the exciting part of because you don't know which one will be the one that changes your entire business. You could meet one person, and that one person can get you set for life.
And not just that, the person that you waste all that time with might not buy or might not, and the one that you spend less than an hour with might not be the biggest sale.
You know
But you
what
just
I
don't
love
know.
documentaries. I'm literally a sucker for true stories and documentaries.
I
I just
love
love it. Right? That reminds me of oh God, what the Playboy guy name? Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner, one attorney, just straight out of college. Y'all need to watch a documentary on Hugh Hefner, man. I just love these documentaries.
You give me myself to watch.
And I try to remember. I have to look that up and see what the movie name. But look up Hugh Hefner documentary movie. I'm sure it'll come up on Google. And this one attorney straight out of university. Hugh Hefner hired him, and always in trouble, always in trouble, always in trouble. That's the Playboy, right? Playboy is Hugh Hefner, right? And the same one attorney had to end up representing him in the case where it had to go to the Supreme Court, where he said it was his constitutional right to, show these magazines because that's a certain level of freedom that he has. And this junior attorney we had actually won that case for him.
Exactly.
This one client he
And
had.
he's stuck with him.
One
His
client,
life
and
eventually.
Hugh Hefner made that man a millionaire. A
Because you're
millionaire.
getting- you always getting sued. so
No
I always
other
get
attorney
this.
he was trusted. He
But that's why
trusted
you
with
have
his
to
life.
You can't turn down.
You hear me?
I mean,
He did a
some people
whole
could turn down.
firm
but
of
you
Hugh
have to know
Hefner.
who to go after. And the people who you think are the ones who can help you and the ones.
Yeah.
So you have
That's
to be
life.
able to interview everybody effectively. Say, are you an open office plan? Open plan office with a little sense of privacy. Can conversations be overheard? If
Yeah, that's
you
that's a problem.
need to know
Especially my
you need to know where you're going because
Big on
sometimes
privacy.
people are very tight with their information. And if they can see a little door crack, if they see people walking up and down too much, they get a little antsy and they don't want to have an interview with you. All right? So you must be cognizant of all of these.
That's why I don't get this open
things.
cubicle thing, especially at the level, dealing with people finance.
Well, usually
And
you
in
have
cubicle,
this,
I don't get that.
You have a meeting room, but your
in
desk,
the client room.
your desk is a thing.
Crazy.
So you must set objectives. What is this meeting for? What should I achieve from this meeting? How much time should I spend on this meeting? And how important is this customer? Because not every customer demands the same amount of time. Like you said, after 10 minutes you know,
Just
I don't want this person. Why are they spending here for an hour? And I know there's nothing fruitful coming out of this. All right, so you have to be able to set objectives. Generating topics for questions. How do you do that? Refer to your files well in advance. You may have some information on this customer, previous information on this customer. Before they come, you already Googled them, you already checked them out, you already did all your, you know what they've been into and all. So you have all, don't ask questions you don't need to ask. Because people with money and people who you have to probably sometimes service don't have a lot of time.
That's true.
So you need to be very meticulous, you have to be very straight to the point, and they'll tell you, I ain't got the time. I got different things to do, let me know what it is. And when they feel like you're wasting their time, they will cut the interview short. All right, and you will miss out on opportunities.
How do banks, I mean domestic banks, deal with clients where they know have illegal income and legal income?
You want me to answer as
I just want
as a compliance person,
Yeah.
or you want me to answer?
Like you
Yeah, so
know that, you know.
there are laws that protect the bank to tell the bank you don't have to take this client. What we say in the
But when you
branches
have
is
known clients and you know.
how to get in your books.
A lot of them on these commercial bank books. They have a legitimate business, but you know, they also have this side
They get a
business.
funny business. But that's on compliance. And the thing about it is that they have measures in place, whereas the MLRO, who is a money laundering reporting officer, they could go to jail and get fined as well as the bank.
That happened with, you all know with the Latino nurse would ship $80,000. Yeah, that was in the papers. Remember that, right? That was in the news.
Recently,
About less
Over
than a
here?
year ago. She sent $80,000 to the Philippines on being a nurse, the PMH. And Central Bank called her PMH and say, how could this Filipino nurse ship this amount of money in the short? This actually made the papers.
she was doing something
It was
else.
like, how is she can make this kind of money
They make a lot
and
of
send this
time,
kind of
you know.
money out the country? What is this woman
Listen,
doing?
this make a lot of time.
Man, when that get to the big chiefs, them they find out this woman was working all the overtime, 7 days, no time off, day and night, and
Yeah, but
just
the difference
cleaning
is,
up.
see, but I tell you
just
this,
cleaning up.
I leave
And
my
every
family-
dollar she
I
was
left my
earning, she was
family in
sending
the
through.
Philippines.
And they
I only
flagged
come
up.
to work. I only
They
come here to
flagged
work.
up.
I ain't gonna family. What I
They
going
flagged
for?
And now they actually changed it. That caused the whole nursing union one big. Look here, that caused what I brought.
Filipinos are working plenty overtime in that time.
No, but they balance it now where no foreign nurse actually get to work all the overtime.
Right.
They
Because the thing is,
Central Bank locked that right up.
a lot
That
of some
was
babies be
alarming
like, I
Central
need to
Bank.
go home. I need to go home.
Man.
I ain't staying
Work
overtime.
balance. They
So
tell me
work-life
that.
balance.
There's
Filipino
work-life
life.
balance. They tell me all the time, trying to need work-life balance. I say, no, I need to pay bills.
Well,
Come
I
on,
mean, to be fair with that nurse, you think you say, they might say, you know what? I don't work Friday, but I know if I ask her, she can go.
Exactly.
She doing wrong.
No.
No, she nothing wrong. My thing is, what I going home to do?
Exactly. 'Cause
That wasn't the issue.
My family.
As the nurse, as far as the head nurse to PMH, they weren't asking Bahamian nurses to work this kind of overtime. They was only asking this. What that costs out? When I tell you that, y'all can Google that and that will come right up on your phone. Filipino nurse will ship $80,000 of the country. That will come up and trust me. They shut that right down.
Because y'all ain't won't work. And
They
I
shut that down. Maybe some don't want work, but don't say all of them.
not some. Some don't want work.
Yeah, some don't, but
Some
not
don't
all.
work. Yeah, because I had an aunt who used to work plenty.
Some of them love to
You know,
work,
you have
especially when they know they get no
You can't
overtime.
be working those long
Right.
14-hour shifts, you know, I mean,
Right.
some of
Start
them
making
go to
mistakes.
the individual.
You got bills,
Yeah.
you guys know what you're doing.
So make comparisons. And she probably left the family back home who really ain't got it. And 80 grand is plenty to go back home.
That's plenty to stay right here.
So imagine.
That's probably why Central Bank was so.
Yeah.
What the hell is this?
Listen, you know,
Otherwise,
this country takes-
I wish I was to make it. I mean, I wish I was in the man. I was just like, make it go.
Trust me, I worked at a money transfer business. I
Like,
know
kick it up a deep back.
plenty of money.
Ridiculous.
Because, but the thing is, you have to understand, that's what they came for.
Yeah, they came to work.
They came to work.
They came to
They
work.
came to send
They
money
had
back
a
home.
family.
So you must make comparisons. Generate your questions by comparing the information already available for the interview with what you require. For example, compare the information known and supplied, business plan, application for a loan, with what you would ideally require. Alright? So given the right preparation, you can ask the right questions. You cannot ask the right questions if you've not made the right preparation. So the 80% of what you're doing happens before the person comes. 10% is when they're here. The other 10 is just wrapping up all the information at the end. All right? So if risk assessment is a major part of the interview, remember to use risk assessment techniques. The prime skill in interviewing is for the interviewer to guide the discussion along the path it needs to follow for the objective to be achieved. Setting an agenda for the meeting. You start with topics to be raised, conducting an interview. So think about how you're going to greet the customer. So you think about how you're going to greet the customer when you come. You should at least greet them by name. Introduce yourself if you've not met before. All these I'll be looking for.
And stand when you introduce yourself.
Yeah, don't sit down and shake people's hands. Some of these are just good manners that you learn back in the day. You know. Welcome the person and give a firm handshake. Look them in the eye. Show you are pleased to see them. Don't act like they are bothered to your day. Even if they come before 10 o'clock. Sure everything they got. Break the ice and get the person to relax with pleasantries. But know where to draw the line. Don't use so much pleasantries that you start looking fake.
Serious.
That kind of thing. I know when you trying to swing me. Don't, because you can make me feel like I stupid, and if I feel like I stupid, I ain't had nothing else you gotta say. Alright? Then clearly state the purpose of the meeting and the time available. We'll be looking for all these. So you state the purpose of the meeting, the time available, and you ask them if they propose to raise any other business in order that time may be allowed. So you come here for this, but is there anything else you want to discuss? Let me know so I can know how to properly arrange my time. Alright? The questioning cycle. The technique of effective interview questioning can be summarized as this. You ask, you listen and watch, you interpret, then you react. You ask, you listen and watch, you interpret what they were saying, and you react. And if you don't understand, don't be ashamed to ask them, what do you mean? Because you don't want to misinterpret what they are saying. Okay? Create the questions. An effective interview will examine each topic of the interview and draft out the wording of their key initial questions before the interview. Different types of questions. You have open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are those which start with who, what, where, why, when, and how, cannot be easily answered with a yes or no, and should be made full use of. So when you're doing your interview, ask open-ended questions, leaving the door open for them to kind of fill you in. All right? You want to have an interview with just a yes, no, yes. Like you're filling out some kind of survey. You're in that kind of party. All right? Probing questions. Provide a clearer focus to too short or too generalized answers. For example, tell me, what does this involve? So let me say, what do you do? I'm in consulting. Right? You want to probe. What do you do? I'm in pharmaceuticals. You may figure out doing some cannabis or pharmaceuticals. Yeah, you know, they may be in something that is
How many times do you have?
You may figure out they're in something totally illegal. And you need to get them out of your office before you come and close everything down.
Well, I'm a businessman.
I'm a businessman. I work somewhere and everybody's passports used to say cosmetologist or something, but I know where you was working.
That's true.
Yeah, we ain't call no names, but I know where you were.
Nah, that one going over my head. I know
I
that.
think that's because we work the same place where we felt.
Yeah, I know where you were. And I used to work Saturday morning, so I know where
They
you
say there's a
been Friday
cosmetologist?
night.
Wait a minute, if they say they're a
No, because
cosmetologist.
your passport says cosmetologist or hairdresser.
Okay.
But I know.
Yeah.
Your money smell like
Cigarettes.
weed,
Yeah.
cigarettes,
What a time.
gum.
That is a
I know what I used to be doing.
You give me $300 at once.
You know, like I know where you work.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of things you deal with.
Like,
You know?
see?
So you can't just, so you come telling them, and sometimes they lie to you and tell you, this is what I do. But you realize then, when you know your customer, you're a teacher, but you bring in $10,000 a month. What you teach? Who do you teach?
What a
And
time.
how do you?
What do you do? So when you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. All right. reflecting back, or not to say reflecting back, but this is kind of like, so we're seeing where that was like reversing
Reverse
back.
back.
The comment you just made about salaries, how is the bank tracking, the industry, tracking clients like that, where they would have a bank account with each different institution? And so you don't know,
But we can't, the
That-
central bank tracks it.
but then you don't tell central bank whose name has the account, right? So say I deposit in $10,000 a month, or 20,000. So I'm putting 5 in each different bank, 4 banks. They all
Don't be
think
like
I'm
the
making
stupid, don't be like the stupid woman
$5,000.
to COB what was teaching all
How
that money.
does- how
She had
does-
No,
$250,000
They're
a
getting
year.
it illegal, but you just,
Central bank,
but each one of them think is your salary, you know.
right. But the thing is that when you give us your salary, we realize the salary is moving. So in a way you'd make $5,000 a
They
month.
flagged that girl to COB, UB with T for almost $1 million.
Right. Because in a way
Central Bank
you
told her she had $250,000
there's no
in
way
each bank.
that you make $5,000 a month and you don't touch your salary.
No, but what, I think what she's talking about as far as what if you were a smart person? Yeah, you say you make 5,000 a month, right? Who's to say, let's just say I actually make a little bit more, right? So I only deposit in a portion. I'll come in and I'll say, let me get a couple of dollars, so I'll take a couple off the ATM. So I'm moving cash, so it's gonna.
Yeah, but then we're gonna flag this because the thing is, banks have what they call transaction monitoring. So they monitor your transactions on a monthly basis. If every time you get, because we ultimately expect you to have living expenses, which gonna bring down your $5,000 balance. But you tell me you don't have no other account to no other bank. So how that working
You
out?
could just go to the ATM.
Yeah, little
$60 or
yeah, little $60, but it still won't equate to your living expenses. Or your husband just take care of all
That's
this.
right. My husband takes-
I was gonna say.
I actually
Fair
had
enough.
a co-worker like that. She never
She on
touched
allowance.
her salary.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, glory.
I'm serious. Her husband to be took care of her. And again, I'm sorry, I call it no name.
No, because you on camera.
I don't call it no name, but an institution. But there was an employee there that noticed that she never touched it. And there
Are you
was,
kidding me?
And
They
they-
bought things like that?
And they start touching it.
and they started touching it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your banks who they watch me call
Scotia's
you
do that a
one.
lot.
We ain't call no
They
name.
call no name. They call no name.
I just experienced me. I mean, shoot.
Oh, so they was-
You hear
So they call it dormant,
they call it.
I didn't know who you was talking about. I just know
not-
that
it's not
if I left money for a minute,
Sorry, hold on a
money
second.
Listen,
Pardon?
the teller realized that.
No, I hear what they say.
Yeah, we
It's not-
can't allow them to be talking about
No.
Scotia like that.
It's not
That's
an
what-
accident, it's
I'm
not
sorry,
dormant because
experience.
the
No.
salary's coming every
No,
month.
but
Right,
that's
it's just
why-
that
no,
she's
but that's why you have a
expecting
compliance
anything
unit.
of credit. So
Remember
that's
now,
it.
You
So
don't monitor
the
your-
Every
bank
bank
would-
has checks and
flag that,
balances.
they would flag a
What
customer
she's
like that?
saying is that the teller
The
noticed
teller
it.
The teller
The
notices
client
it.
wasn't checking on their money, so the teller started
It's
charging the
moving.
client's
Right.
money.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Right.
do.
No,
they
but
take
you
off
have-
and they
Did
put
they
it
actually catch up with the teller? I mean, I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
she actually
Yeah, I think we
went
catch
in, I think maybe after a year and a half. She just really did not touch
She didn't
it.
even have online,
You
like in the
check,
monitor,
you
nothing.
She went in
I don't mind that
and
back
she
then.
came back to work that day and she was like, she was eating fire.
Wow.
But the thing is that each bank has backup systems. So you have compliance, you have audit, who just randomly do tests.
But I think that happened a lot before online banking came in.
Right.
The tellers would use it for the weekend, or
Right.
you take out a, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
you just
and you
like,
take back, yeah.
I'd be terrified to do that.
No, but the thing is,
bruh.
that's why even though people shun a lot of mobile banking and stuff like that, I think it's awesome because you get
Yeah,
Right.
alerts,
And now you have
you
Scotiabank,
know?
that every time you swipe your card, you get a text.
But
or you get an
CIBC
email.
was doing that long time.
But we ain't call no names.
They have it now.
We ain't call- I could only talk about
A
Scotiabank.
long time.
I can't talk
A
about
long
it.
time. I literally, but I showed up and my notification
Email.
come up.
Thank you.
Wow.
From Scotiabank?
Yeah, I have a
We'll-
Scotiabank.
Let me know, we'll
Scotiabank
fix that up. We'll send everything.
Notification by email.
Everything.
I'm not like, I grow up.
With your credit card
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
My
have
wife-
one mine.
You have to notify, you have to update it.
Yeah, you have to ask them to put it in.
Wait, what bank you talking about?
It's Scotia.
Oh, I know.
So let me ask our resident, let me ask our resident expert.
Not just that,
Do we
let me
have to
tell you.
sign up for notifications or is it automatic?
That's a paid
The
service.
notifications are automatic once you have, once the bank has your email address.
Yeah.
If not, you
I
can
get
go in
mine,
and
I
have
mean,
it
for every
updated.
simple
Yeah.
thing.
Go on your branch
I
and
guess I
have it updated.
have to update mine then.
Yeah.
You know what I also get from
Also.
CIBC? They email me. And they said, you made a transfer, you made a transfer to such and such, at my Yahoo now. You made a transfer to such and such, if this was not authorized, please
Call this
contact
number.
them.
We got you. We do that too.
Let me tell you something. I have no issues with CIBC, so much that I turned my mommy to CIBC. And she walked in there and she was like, Chanel, I walked in and everything was done and I walked out with my temporary card and I got to go. I said, nah, I don't have to stand around my long line to send you no money. I could just sit to my desk and send.
There's no better flattery than you referring your relative and your mommy.
No, hold on. Not just my mommy. My mommy who worked to,
Lauren.
okay.
Lauren, by the
Come on,
time we had Lauren finish all this class, all y'all be Scotia Bank.
I'm already a Scotiabank.
I already was a Scotiabank.
I'm already
twice.
I know, so don't let the first Caribbean people get you signed.
Scotia and First Caribbean have to do something about their lines. It's ridiculous.
We are working on it.
First Caribbean, and I had a few times, and I had to walk out the lines too
Which
long.
branch is that?
Harbor Bay.
Okay, I can deal with that.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, y'all.
I know that Harbor Bay is actually short staffed.
Let me know let me know when you're coming in. You can sit on the couch.
You know why that is? Let me tell you why that is.
My God.
Let me tell you why that is. Let me tell you why that is. That's because a lot of people have left a particular bank
RBC,
and
they
gone
still
to
leaving it rules.
and
Yeah,
gone to CIBC.
They can lose.
So let's look at these other questions.
By the
Because
time
y'all
they
telling
decide
me
to change their thing,
That's
it's
right.
too late.
That's right.
And it's
Go on.
8:22.
Go on.
So you
They
get 8
actually
more
don't
minutes.
mind.
See why I say
Oh, you
see
know
why I say
one
man?
person I
They don't
had
actually, they actually don't mind some.
They don't mind it.
it.
Yeah, the way they treat people, they get them to go
Not
along.
mine.
In the Bahamas, it takes so long for them to give you your
Yeah.
money back.
Yeah, it takes a long time. Because
They
the
only
whole-
want to deal with certain
Yeah, the
brands.
whole year account
That's like in
Too long,
for
I-
I
investigation.
got them. I
They
said,
don't
"Come
want
on,
to
they
pay
need to
for
stay
all
on
the
that. They
time.
only
You
want."
could imagine having
The
money and you wake up
And
your
you can't
money
touch it.
and you have to wait months to get your money back.
But then
That's not the case with private banking.
in
We're talking about
representative.
this was Royal
See,
Bank.
private
The
banking.
local domestic banking.
But y'all
Salt.
but y'all need people with a net worth salad what?
We have a
$100?
minimum of $100.
See? Anyway.
When the camera turn
And
off.
there are penalty fees
Sonda.
if you drop it.
I saw that. I saw you saw me. Alright, hypothetical questions. Describe a situation with an individual and ask them how they would respond. You could use this in your interview. You give them a scenario and ask them how will you respond to
Actually,
this.
that.
Right? Leading questions should be used with care. So when you're asking a client a question, when you use a leading question, you use it with caution. A leading question is when you kind of prompt them. So you ask them a question and say, well, you don't think that. You know, you don't do that. You let them answer on their own volition. All right? And avoid multiple questions. What, blah, 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 and where, blah, blah, blah. Don't ask a bunch of questions in one time. One question at a time. All right? So deliver the questions. Listen carefully and watch the customer use good eye contact. Good listening skills include making use of pauses and silence to encourage the customer to talk. Do not interrupt the customer. If you think of a supplementary question, wait until the customer falls silent. And if you like when you forget, write the question down and come back to it. Okay? Do not interrupt, okay? Prevent distractions like telephone calls. Put your phone on mute or put your phone on voicemail. Being sympathetic and empathetic. Now, first we're being loved. Anyway, being sympathetic and empathizing with the customer. This can be achieved by showing they have no problem with voicemail at First Caribbean. No problem with that. They love voicemail. You should create a rapport with them, but maintain a social distance. Encourage them to speak. You can politely probe and elicit more information by nodding and saying yes. They can know, help them out. That kind of way. It is a matter of common courtesy to listen attentively and not allow oneself to be distracted. Alright? Much useful information can be gleaned not only from what is said, but what is not said, nuances, strength of feeling, pauses, hesitation. There's a strength of feeling, but you know that means intuition. You know, you feel, you say something, but something ain't right. Track it. Alright? Interpret, understand the total message, assess what the person is saying and or showing and not saying or avoiding. You keep asking them the same question, they keep running around that question, mark it.
Or answering with a question.
Right. Don't ask me the question with a question. When I ask you, no, you know, but the thing is you must ask the right questions. That's the key. Ask the right questions, you get the right answers. Alright? Vocally, the way they talk to each other, our tone, delivery, and speed of speech, visually, the way we look, the way we dress, the way we sit, the way we stand, all of this gives, I guess, the customer the comfort in giving us more information. Alright? Problem solving. If you are trying to reach a solution to a problem, put yourself in the customer's shoes. Look at the interview and any problems from their point of view. This will help you to understand their position, to empathize with them and generate a rapport, and think of solutions and answers to the mutual satisfaction of both sides. Sometimes you would have seen it earlier, but not everything is a money thing. And I said that to say this, meaning that you don't always have to lower your price to win the customer. Sometimes you can leave your price at where it is, or like you say, offer them 0.005%.
It's crazy.
I know it is. Offer them 0.005% and they still stay because of the quality of the relationship. You don't always have to sell yourself
Service
out.
to me.
I don't know.
No, tell you, it's like a disservice.
They offer other services, they say.
Services.
So they say. But I know.
We offer you, we can give you our advisory team, we can give you some side information.
Like pen? What
Oh my God.
kind of side information?
You get
Please put this on the paper.
helpful information.
I'm not
So
inside
make me to
information.
understand something.
No,
In
no.
private banking, it's not, private banking,
You get
it's really just, wait, hold on, no, well, that's just stuff. But in private
Bring that
banking,
next week. I want to see what y'all get.
private banking is really just, really getting the client to invest their money with them, not necessarily to grow their money.
No. You, see, the thing is.
I mean, when you could say, and no matter how pretty, how nice, no
Uh-huh.
matter how the atmosphere, no matter how perfect everything may be, but when you say 0.0%, I'm like,
Like I
what
said,
the
that's
hell
just
is
play
that?
money, but they're big money,
That-
it's still the
yeah.
bank as well, and they have
That-
their own investment management, they're trading those
Exactly.
assets. But it's the cash that they're just sitting.
That's
there,
a little
reserve
play
cash.
money.
Yeah, that's the play money.
So the other
Then
money
you
they
have
have invested,
operations.
trading it, you know.
Yeah, you have accounts where you actually just need a business account for operations, local expenses, foreign exchange if you want to move stuff from GDP to whatnot. It's a lot of services that we offer, and then if we find that.
No, but at the end of
invest-
the day, is private banking mandate to help grow the client's money?
Yes, because a part of private banking is
Because all of those
providing them.
services and perks come at a cost, am I right?
Yes.
They
Yeah,
do.
but she's
Yes,
talking about
it's a
the
business
cash they have,
money.
they
It is.
don't have invested.
You pay to
They
play.
have the money,
Yeah,
so
the
they have,
amount of
so
money
they
they
have
have,
5 million
what they
with,
make versus
but
what they
they
pay.
have like
is-
100,000
Right.
in cash, and the rest of that is invested in
And-
something.
Right.
Okay.
So that's
So that's
$100,000
about liquid.
Right.
So, but you also have, like you said, the perks of everything centralized where you
One
now
shop,
have,
everything happens.
yeah, one shop, we have an investment advisory team. If you want to
Estate
buy some
planning,
bonds or
financial
foundations and
side.
stuff like that. So we have all of that, we offer all of that.
Okay, you get all that.
You even pay the
But some
insurance,
people
whatever, you know, the insurance.
Hold on, their salary is 100,000 or their net worth is at least 100,000.
Network,
Cash,
cash.
yeah.
Their cash is
You have to
100,000.
have a minimum of cash.
But then you
100,000.
guys, you can't take $B, y'all can't take $B either, right?
No, we deal in BSC external.
Right. So you have to be
Expat.
no, an
Yeah,
expat
expat.
who have this
Or
BSc.
$1
And that's $100,000 what they got there, only for you to do your little expenses
your
for your
little
house,
things.
your little buying, your little bleaching
Yeah.
tie for the World Cup.
Yeah,
So we
you
can
have
those-
your
that kind of thing.
cash.
That's enough for. So they really ain't for, you know. They really ain't for.
You know what,
All
but
like registry fees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's let me go carry that money
they charge you
down.
$3,000
Right.
minimum just for,
Yeah.
you know, having an
Oh my
account, so,
That's
God.
them.
yeah.
That's them.
Not 3,000, but.
So they watch money. They give them money.
Yeah,
They say,
that's what
"Watch this money."
Bernie made our customers.
Yeah, watch this
Right
money.
in.
So this is how you close. Think about how you're going to bring the interview to conclusion. You should ask them if there's anything else to tell you that has not come out this far. You should ask them whether there are any questions that they would like to ask. You should thank them for coming to see you. If appropriate, indicate that you've enjoyed meeting them and the discussion. Agree what is to happen next. So when you close out your meeting, you must always do next steps. I mean, it's advisable that you do next steps to let them know this isn't just a one and done. You can expect to hear from me, such and such, or somebody will be reaching out to you, such and such. And the key is, reach out. Because a lot of people say they would follow up, and we lose a lot of customers by not following up. Even if the customer has a complaint, it's imperative that you follow up. All right, post-interview and we close. Analyzing and evaluating the information. Analyzing and evaluating the information obtained from the interview and reaching an objective decision. There is something reassuring about making a decision after having the benefit of conducting an interview and meeting the customer face to face. The analysis of an interview is helped by preparing well before the interview and settling on the criteria you're going to base your decision upon. So you can say before you start the interview, if these points are checked, I'm going to go with this client. Same way when you do an interview for staff, if this person has this or does this or says this, they're the one. You should have, before you start the interview, you should have what should have been answered in the interview. That's going to let me know this is the person I'm going to go with. We good? All right, so plan an agenda. The analysis of the interview is helped when you plan an agenda, when you carry out effective interviewing and closing actions, and you make notes and assess the information objectively. Like I said, do not prejudge. You should not jump to conclusions, and you should not close your mind. Be careful that you do not end up taking in only that information which you think proves your preconceived ideas. So if you think the customer is rich, all you be listening out is for rich stuff, and you're missing out the teeth and buy. You can get them say, I got $1 million, and you totally miss.
How you say you heard that?
Because all he has is $1 million.
Oh my God.
All right? So those are what you're going to be looking for when you are doing an interview. Lauren, the class, we also had more persons in the class last time.
Yeah, we have
The first class is about 11.
Yeah, we have another male
After
and
that, we just had.
Another male, another female.
yeah.
And they just drop off.
11? Who's in 11?
Maybe they.
It was all of us plus two more.
Yeah,
A guy.
what's your name? Shanika, right? The one who's
Yeah.
yeah.
The one who usually sits across from me. Who
Yeah,
sits next to me?
Shanika, right.
Sharice, another guy.
No, you was in here on Saturday.
No, she was.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Sharice.
And the other gentleman, there was only two guys, you and.
Yeah, it was only two
Yeah, I
guys.
wrote the names down. I don't know if that's Miguel or someone gonna drop out the class.
And I'm
Vacation
here.
time,
Sharice
so
will be busy.
I think some of us are
Yeah.
on vacation
I think
and,
Brian's trying to just.
Okay, this is Bradley, right? Bradley, that's one is Bradley and one is Quentin.
the young
We have
guy,
two
he never
guys.
came
Quentin.
back.
You're Quentin.
Quentin
Okay, so it's
what?
Bradley. Quentin Gibson, Rare Fidelity. Bradley, he's a business owner.
You're Quentin.
Yeah, it's Bradley.
Bradley Young.
Bradley came in last class.
No, what's the next one?
Yeah,
First
he
one.
never came
Who's the
back.
next
And
person?
then
I don't know if
somebody
you can
didn't
fill
show
this
up.
These are the persons who came in the very first class as we were given the introduction.
I got you. See?
No, she was 10.
Real insurance.
Everybody
She got in there and be like, I need to follow up with you. And the class over. But that's where we are. That's where we're going to start today. Next week we're going to talk about different personality types. But I'm trying to just get us to take a personality test because it
Oh,
helps
Lord.
you to know who you are, and that's how you kind of face.
It's not 368.
Personality. Where is
No.
that? We're gonna read
I
about
understand.
personality. Where is that in this
Which
book?
one are you
It isn't in
doing?
the book. I have to
What
bring
is
that
it?
notes.
Which one are you doing? It's not
Probably
just
this.
like this?
Probably this.
And we're talking like next week Thursday,
Like
right?
next week Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that. We'll see what our personality is, and what our personality is often how we see other people, whether we know it or not.
I attract who I
That
am. I
is
attract
true.
fun.
Yeah.
And that's when you have expectations.
Right. And then you learn.
I've learned that in this
My
year.
clients are
Which
just
color?
like me.
5 love languages.
We're all
Sometimes
excited.
the love language that you speak is not the love language
You
that you
receive.
receive.
Yep.
So it kind of helps
Yeah,
to know.
those clients who are not.
What happened?
This is just over the top. Over the top.
Lauren?
Over the top.
Expectations.
All right. Bye bye.
But she'll be to the next class, so she's
Yeah.
gonna be away for a couple of
That's
weeks.
just bad. You know, everything notes.
Yeah.
Everything glad pass for those, everything jumping in the back.
Oh wow, she's doing the correspondent address. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Take care. All right, man. Take care. I got some information on that. I think, yeah.
But Tino, she just started class today.
Oh, Lauren.
Lauren, I always
She's
forget how
the first-
tall you are.
That's the first one.
I love it. She has
I know.
I think I'm taller than you.
You are taller.
6'2".
Oh, yeah.
You sure you're 6'2", because they tell me I'm 6'2" all my life. And then when I get measured, I was 6 foot and a quarter inch.
Right.
I'm
That's why I
taller
have
than
to
you,
pyramid, I
I'm
can't.
probably 6'2".
Yeah, watching online.
Yeah, I think she's a little, you're a
This
little
one's
taller.
recorded online.
Yeah,
This was
all
recorded
of
online?
them, all of them. That's what I read on it.
How do you stop this?
I don't know. I go in the restroom before I walk out the door.